Oh, you know what I love?
Sports.
Love sports.
Sports. When
It comes to Texas A&M.
Where are you getting this information?
Let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
I need to talk a little sports with you, Ags. David Nuño here with TexAgs Radio. Billy Lucci here on TexAgs Radio. Olin Buchanan.
We will develop men, we will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
The best way for us to win is to do it together.
Do you realize everybody knows who you are right now?
Very thankful for 12th man. They've won us games.
Been in college baseball for a while now, but I've never experienced anything like 12th man.
That's about as pretty a throw-catch combo as there is.
I saw the safety roll, the slot fade. I knew where I needed to put the ball.
Our skill set worked great together. Like, he was more speed and I was more power, and then we put together, it was like thunder and lightning, you know.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome into TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. It is the Go Hour, presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. OB, your haircut makes you look 10 years younger.
You think?
Yeah, it's got. I don't know if you did it on purpose, but you got a little bit of the messy, dry look. It fits you, my friend.
Well, that's the way it's supposed to look when it's short, right?
Yeah.
But the young lady that cut my hair yesterday, you know, I just
go back to her.
I just say, you just do it. She asked me, well, how much you want to cut? I said, you're the professional. You make professional decisions. I don't really pay much attention to.
Yeah.
And then she said, and make sure you put more of the stuff in your hair to keep it. So there, thank you.
What stuff are you putting in your hair?
I don't know.
A pomade, a wax? I'm sure this is riveting radio.
Basically, it's the 2024 version of Brill Cream. A little dab will do you for men who use their heads about their hair.
It's you. Commercial from 1979.
Yeah. Oh, even before that.
And I don't remember.
Yeah.
But I remember that commercial. Yeah. It's TexAgs Radio. I already said that. So there's two things. First off, Danny Cannell, I was listening. I wasn't going to start with this, but it'll weave into what I wanted to talk about. Danny Cannell this morning on the way in said that he thinks more Big Ten teams will make and I want to make sure I say it with the way he said it. I didn't write it down, but basically he thinks more Big Ten teams make the tournament, or the playoffs, I should say, than the SEC, and not because the Big Ten is better,
because
they're top heavy,
right?
And the SEC, he could see them eating each other alive basically during the season.
Well, you know, it's maybe a sound
thinking,
you know, because I could see Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, and Iowa. Because Iowa still should have a
Michigan,
really good.
Let's do this again.
I said Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, and Iowa.
And no Oregon?
Oh yeah, Oregon. So 5.
Yeah.
I got to remind myself because in the outlier there's that everybody says Iowa, but Iowa won 10 games last year.
Went to the Big Ten championship.
Got throttled, and I think they got a really weak schedule this year. So at the end of the season, with I think 9 starters are back on that defense, and can they possibly be as bad offensively as they were last year? So maybe, but they got a new offensive coordinator, so they could go 10-2 again and be right in the mix.
I didn't even think about Iowa. They don't come to mind. They are out of sight, out of mind.
I need to look up Iowa's schedule.
But
it's bad.
I don't disagree with his thinking. I still think 4 minimum SEC teams get in, right? You're going to have at least 4 teams that go 10-2.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah.
And maybe 5.
Maybe.
But
his point is that it's going to be for some programs like Missouri probably going to win 10 games.
Right.
But
Georgia going to win 10 games?
Well, they got to play Alabama. They got to play Texas. You know,
they got a schedule.
Yeah. So, but I think they will. You know, I think they're going to win.
Texas wins 10 games.
Probably.
The Michigan game, I think, will determine that to me. Actually, no. I mean,
well, you know what? Look, if I had to pick an over-under and it was 9.5 on Texas, I'd probably take the over.
Yep.
But I wouldn't be surprised if it was the under. Because, again, we talked about that. How many close games did they squeak by last year and in the Big 12? And the SEC, even with the SEC schedule they got, is just less forgiving.
So that brings me to my next point. ESPN has predictions of the top 24 teams most likely to make the 12-team playoff.
Okay.
A&M coming in at number 16. Or, tied for 16th, I should say, with Kansas State.
I think that's more than fair. Go on.
And Ole Miss. Now, that surprised me.
Well, let's see. Who does Ole Miss play? They play LSU. I'd have to look
Nick will
at
put
Ole
the
Miss.
schedule up here for us in a second. But Ole Miss is a team all we hear about is, there we go, Furman, Middle Tennessee, at Wake
3-0.
Forest.
Georgia Southern
4-0.
Kentucky at home 5-0. South Carolina 6-0. LSU at LSU, okay. Oklahoma, okay. Arkansas, that's a win. Georgia's probably a loss. At Florida's a win. So LSU, Oklahoma, and Arkansas, and Georgia, they're saying are
so 9-3 at worst.
Who knows what Florida's going to be? I would say Ole Miss beats Florida. But yeah, they're 1, 2, 3. They are 6-0 going to LSU.
Yeah.
I would think 9-3 at worst.
Yeah. Now
maybe they think 9-3 is at worst for A&M.
Well, hopefully that's what they think. When I think of Lane Kiffin, though, he doesn't win a lot of big games, or at least he hasn't. He's won games. I mean, the LSU game, was it last year? He's won big games, and look, if you consistently win, 2 out of the last 3 years, double-digit wins, you're on to something. And I think they're better this year than they were last year.
They're supposed to be. We'll see.
It's 3 top 25. Oh, that was last year. They had 3 top 25 wins. There you go. Yeah. That means they do win some games. So I'm going to go over the other teams, all right? You'll know the answer. You'll know this. Georgia, 78% chance of making the playoffs. Oregon, 76% chance. Higher than Ohio State, by the way. Texas, 68% chance at number 3.
Okay.
Ohio State, 4th at 67%.
Okay.
Notre Dame, 59%, tied for 5th.
How do they come up with these percentages, by the way?
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, but Notre Dame, all right. Notre Dame does have with the outside of A&M, and I don't know, maybe their schedule looks like a cakewalk to me.
Penn State tied for 5th at 59%.
Maybe they have a tougher schedule.
Alabama, 57% at 7th.
That's a little bit surprising.
Mizzou, 37%. My voice cracked there. 37% chance at 8th. We've got Tennessee at 8th, tied for 8th, 37% as well. That was surprising to me. Oklahoma at 37%, tied for 8th.
With that schedule?
I don't see that at all.
I don't see it at all.
Look, I think A&M being 16th is more than fair. I think A&M has a better chance than Oklahoma.
I do too. But Oklahoma has serious offensive line issues. Maybe it's worse than A&M's, and you better be able to be able to hold up in the offensive line if you're going to win the SEC, especially with the schedule they're facing.
Yeah. Florida State at 11, Michigan at 12, Clemson at 13, LSU at 14, Kansas Jayhawks at 15. I already gave you the 3 for 16.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I always wonder how they come up with that. Like when you watch a game on TV and they come up with you now are 90% chance assured to win.
How do you know?
Yeah, because I remember when A&M was like 99%
chance of losing?
Of winning.
Oh, winning.
Yes, UCLA.
Oh, don't remind me of that game.
God.
But I've said this on the air before, so I apologize for those who have heard it. That was a game that I think I've told you this. I was on the set with Tom Abrams. He's a news anchor in Houston. His daughter went to UCLA at the time. And at halftime, he told me, "Congratulations, man. Looks like you guys are getting a win." I go, "Dude, I'm an Aggie. This game's far from over." And I think many of us felt that same way.
There's about, we're not going to stay on this, but I'll just say there's about 10 plays you could point to. And if any of them had gone the other way, A&M wins.
Yeah. I hate that game so much.
Maybe the worst coaching effort I've ever seen. Ever. And I've seen some bad ones.
Who's the best announcer?
The best announcer?
In college football. Best group of guys you want calling your game. Or people. I don't want to say guys. Humans.
I always thought, I can't remember who's with who, but I always thought Brad Nessler did a really good job.
Nessler's really good.
Yeah.
The only reason I bring it up is we found out that Chris Fowler, Kirk Herbstreit, and Holly Rowe are going to be on the call for Notre Dame versus Texas A&M.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Herbstreit. Remember, he said
He didn't want
all the
A&M
way
in
he
the playoffs,
disparaged A&M, and
Yep.
yeah. I think Herb Street got too full of himself. He started
Becoming a caricature of himself.
I'm the all-knowing, omnipotent one of college football.
I think he's good. This is what happens. When I watch certain people not talk about A&M, I might like them. And then when they start talking about my team, I'm out. For instance, Joel Klatt is a good listen on certain topics, except when he talks about A&M or Jimbo. I can listen to him talk about other programs, maybe not Texas because he's very high on Texas, but I get it. But I think he's a good analyst. I don't like when he talks about A&M.
Yeah. I just, Herb Street I thought was very unprofessional and all that a few years ago. By the way, since you brought up Jimbo, I want to share this with you. So a friend of mine who covers the Arkansas Razorbacks sent me a text last night. He said that Bobby Petrino was in a press conference, and he wanted me to clarify, some things because he didn't understand why Bobby Petrino, when asked about the new kicker having a solid camp, said, after last season, I don't even watch field goal attempts. He says, I looked it up. They were 26 and 35. That's not that bad. And I had to explain to him about all the blocked kicks. So
wasn't just a kicker. Wasn't just a kicker.
No. Nobody has 3 blocked kicks in 1 year.
And at the end of games.
Well, 2 of them were huge, right?
Yeah.
That Alabama, if you make that one, then you have a chance to win that game. But it got blocked, and fortunately, there was a penalty that kept it from being returned for a touchdown. And then, of course, Ole Miss got blocked when you had a chance to send the game in overtime.
That one haunts me.
So Petrino said, I don't even watch a kick.
But if that doesn't happen, I don't know if we're here today with Coach Elko.
I agree with that, but and I'm glad Elko's the coach, and I think you're better off for the long term.
But you would rather have won.
But I would have rather won those games.
Yeah, no, I feel that. Let's go around the room and say hi to people because I have a topic that'll maybe take a little bit longer. Let's do that. Let's go around the room and say hi to the people. If you want to be a part of the conversation, you can call us or you can text us. If you call us, we'll pick it up on the Boss Firearms hotline. Let's go behind the glass and say hi to Nick Savage. Nick, good morning.
Howdy, good morning, y'all.
So, buddy, the hat and the shirt.
Yeah.
Good.
Oh, yeah. Thanks. Yeah, I'm playing 18 after the show today. Not actually, but thanks for the hat, David. Morning, Mr. Jones.
I forgot I had given it to you. I forgot I gifted it to you.
Yeah, you did. Well, I begged for it. I'll admit, but I got it anyway. So
hey, can we can't say what we did yesterday. We can't say it, but can we admit whenever it comes out, the people are gonna freaking love it. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I think I know what you're talking about.
We did it after the show. We recorded something. There was a guy on Zoom. There was a guy in studio.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. That's going to be a hit. Very good. One of the cooler things that I've gotten to do here at TexAgs so far. So
put it this way. When you see it, you're going to be like, oh, that is awesome.
Obi,
do you know what we're talking about without saying it?
No.
Okay, it's good. You always tell me you're the last to find out about things at TexAgs. This was good.
I am.
This was pretty good.
Okay.
What else, Nick?
Just a lot of basketball talk today on the show. We got Alex Caruso coming up a little later on to talk to him and catch up with him. I'm really excited about that.
What's the official nickname?
The Caruso?
Caruso.
I like that one the most.
Haven't I seen AC Fresh as well?
That's his Twitter handle. I think, isn't like the White Mamba, isn't that one of his nicknames?
Bald Mamba.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Bald Mamba.
There it is, yeah.
You know what I call him?
What do you call him?
Alex.
Yeah. Hey, Alex, how are you, sir? Mr. Buchanan, how are you?
I think he calls me Olin.
Oh, does he?
Yeah. Or the last time we talked, he did. Yeah.
I like OB.
Great guy.
Yeah, we'll be talking about the A&M basketball schedule at some point during this hour.
That's what I was going to highlight as well.
You want to talk? You can highlight it. We can do it now.
Yeah, most obvious. I think y'all reported on it when it first came out yesterday. A&M basketball is going to open their SEC slate against Texas at Reed Arena on January 4th. They actually go to Austin on January 25th, so they'll get the Longhorns twice. They visit Oklahoma on January the 7th. And, they get Tennessee once, Arkansas once with new coaching staff there. They go to Kentucky January 14th or 15th. There's a few flex dates in there. So I'm working on a graphic right now, so we'll make it a little bit more presentable when we talk about it a little later.
And I forgot they open up at Central Florida in Orlando. You should probably send us to that one. I mean, just
It's going to be a good schedule.
Yeah. Vegas, Players Era Festival.
Yeah.
Good teams are going to be there.
Yeah, wish I was.
Yeah. It's the weekend of.
Oh yeah, there's going to be something else going on.
Yeah.
There will be no complaints about net rankings when it comes down to tournament time.
No
Right.
complaints at all. Win the whole darn thing.
Just win it all.
Right now, Nuño. Football, baseball, basketball,
Volleyball, soccer,
track and field.
track and field, both of them.
Thank you for that
Swimming.
soundbite,
Yes.
by the way.
Yes.
David.
Equestrian, win it all.
Everything.
Be the
What would this fan base do if, just for right now, just the big three? The big three all made it to the national championship game and won.
Oh, there'd be parades up and down Texas Avenue and University and
We'd be
forever.
all over the social media thing, wouldn't we?
I think there would be a lot of boys born named Mike if that happened.
Or Buzz?
Maybe if you name Buzz, but you got Michael Early and Michael Elko, so
Two
maybe
Mikes and a Buzz.
Maybe some Brents.
That's a good podcast name. Two Mikes and a Buzz.
Yeah,
Could mean a lot of things. Microphones.
yeah.
Michael Early and a Buzz.
Buzz, yeah, get kind of drunk.
Buzz
and be on
cut.
Buzz. This isn't a buzz
I
cut.
know. This show
I've
is
had
awful.
one before though, not by choice.
We should do that again, just to see what it looks like.
No, it was pretty heinous. Of course, this is heinous,
Yeah.
when you put it on this face. But anyway, great face for radio, voice for rodeo.
Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Caitlin Torn is in the house. Caitlin, good
A
morning.
much better face.
Good morning. Good
What's
morning.
up, yo?
Good. How are y'all?
Good. Rumor has it you had a big birthday recently.
I did. 21 on
Yeah?
August
Congratulations.
13th.
Yeah?
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Did you party?
Like it was
I-
1999.
I did not. I was in the middle of rush, so
Oh,
no
okay.
party or anything, but
That's unfortunate.
maybe something coming up. Maybe for the Notre Dame game.
Wait, we're having you work like 12-hour days for that game. Sorry.
That's fine. Nope. I'd love to celebrate my birthday here.
It is a party. All right. What's going on in your world?
Well, we just got a text all the way from Wisconsin saying, I don't understand why all the talking heads think Texas is good. With the running game gone with Texas, yours ain't good enough to carry a team. Joel Klatt is giving false hope.
I think the backup running back at Texas is Blue. Blue, I think he's still pretty good.
He was
now
he was
they're
good
going to be
last
holding
year.
their breath every time he touches the ball. To me, the question about Texas, as we've talked about, is they have to replace those two defensive tackles that were high NFL draft choices and made Texas defense one of the best in the country against the run, and they have to improve that pass defense was among the worst in the country.
You're right. I want to read this because this kind of fits into what you're talking about there, Caitlin. Texas is looking at several options for the running back. Steve Sarkisian this week said, we have a spot that we can utilize. Again, a lot of times this late in the game is probably not a traditional transfer, maybe more of a graduate transfer, something of that sort. We're kind of looking at all of our options. So they're out there trying to find, if not a number 2 to Blue, a number 3.
So they're looking for a guy here on August 21st who's a grad transfer that they can bring in. So let's just goes to show it's never. Can you bring in a guy after the season starts?
I don't even know like these rules.
Yeah, I don't know what the rules are. I mean, do you have to wait till have classes started?
Coach Elko did talk about, we have to look at what if scenarios. I don't know if this is what he meant when he talked about what if scenario. He's probably looking at talent that we have back here that has had time at running back at some stop, if at college or in high school.
I wonder if there's any rules about that you can't add somebody after classes start. Because aren't you at least supposed to pretend to be a student?
Yeah, but I think it's like the first 10 days.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
I think I remember that from the
All right.
spring. I might be wrong.
No.
Somebody will text in and tell me.
I mean, I don't even know what rules apply to college football anymore. So that's not an accusation. That's just a question because, quite frankly, now with all how I'm kind of ignorant on some certain things.
My favorite rule change is whatever helps A&M. Whatever helps A&M, I'm good. I'm
with
in.
that.
If that means unlimited transfers, if it's going to help us, good. If it means one transfer per 2 years, I'm good. Because I'm selfish when it comes to my team. All right, we'll hit a break here. We'll come back with 24 and 24. Our next, look, you could say this probably about our top 5 guys. You could probably put 5 at 2 or 1. You could put 4 at 3, 2 or 1. You can definitely put 3 at 1 or 2. Like these guys at this level, I think you can. They're all pretty darn good, right? Exceptional, like all SEC level of good. So we're going to talk about one, and I'm not going to point at what line he's on, but I'm just going to say he might be on a line. Right now, career opportunities at the Association of Former Students. If you're looking for a reason to come back to Aggie Land and you want an opportunity to work somewhere that is fantastic, look no further than the Association of Former Students. They're seeking to hire professionals to join their team, and they have typically a bunch of positions open in fundraising and marketing, the business side. There's so many different ways you can be a part of the Association of Former Students, who are the premier alumni association and the oldest organization supporting A&M in support of that Aggie network. They play a part in every Aggie story from Howdy to here. Don't miss opportunities to help the association with Howdy socials, Aggie Ring Day, class reunions, Aggie muster, and everything in between. Join a team that exemplifies those Aggie core values of excellence, integrity, leadership, loyalty, respect, and selfless service, all in support of that worldwide Aggie network. So if you're interested in joining a team or sharing with someone that would be a great fit, please visit tx.ag/association jobs to apply and get more information on each position. It is the Association of Former Students. I like silence entering a segment.
Yeah,
I like it.
I mean, we came into Silent Night.
Yeah. You're doing that face thing where you want me to laugh.
No, I'm just saying I couldn't think of anything to say.
Me neither.
It was The Sound of Silence by Simon and Garfunkel.
Silence of the Lambs.
Good movie.
Pretty good movie.
Scary.
Is that the one that there's a scene? Never mind. I don't want to get in. There's one of those movies. There's a scene that I just never want to watch again.
Probably.
No, it's The Crying Game. That's the worst movie of all time. TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. It is the Go Hour, presented by The Warehouse at CC Creations. It is now time for 24 in 24, brought to you by FBS Appliance. We're committed to delivering an exceptional experience from start to finish. You can trust them to provide unparalleled service and support every step of the way because FBS Appliance is your trusted appliance store. Visit any of their 8 showrooms across Texas and find them online at factorybuilderstores.com. Number 3, OB is...
Yeah, number 11, Nick Scorton. I feel like Christmas came early with the arrival of Sack Nick. I'm so excited about him. I think this guy is a guy that you just plug in and expect him to do great things. We all do. I mean, he's a preseason All-American. He's projected as a first-round draft choice. He led the Big Ten in sacks last year, and quite frankly,
I don't think their defense is as good as what he has here.
Yeah, I don't either. I think they
double-team him a lot.
Yeah, and they probably still will.
Okay, then Shamar
and maybe Hicks or whatever. That opens up things. So I think he's going to make a big impact. And, at the end of the year, we may be saying he should have been number 1.
Yeah.
But let's wait, because the only reason I didn't have any number 1 on my list is there's some other really good players that we're going to be talking about, but just show it to me in the SEC. I know what you did in the Big Ten. By the way, you could say, well, he's at Purdue and Big Ten West is not
right.
He had 2 sacks, two against Michigan, maybe
the best offensive line,
or definitely one of them.
Right.
One of the best offensive lines in the country last year. He had 2 sacks against Michigan, so he got it done against good teams.
Yeah, he's an example of somebody that I've actually brought up Nick Scorton to my kids before. That while he was getting recruited by bigger schools, he wasn't as beloved as he was as a transfer. Right, like. There were some questions. Even A&M, they were interested, but they didn't go hard after.
It was a matter of wait and see. And
right?
That's WEIGHT.
And he's the kind of guy that, let things develop and see what kind of superstar you become.
Yeah, you're not a finished product at 18, right? He came out of, and Mike Elko's been very honest about it. He didn't offer him a scholarship when he was A&M's defensive coordinator because he came out of Brian Hyatt at 220. And he said, yeah, you're a good player, and I'm interested, but I don't know that you're going to be big enough to get through the day-by-day rigors of SEC and going against those big SEC linemen. So he goes to Purdue, and what do you know? He gets up to 280, and he's a total dominant force, and has a chance to come back to home to A&M, and A&M is definitely excited to have him.
You might double team him.
Mm-hmm.
You might double team whoever you think is the hot guy that day: Shamar Turner, Shamar Stewart, Rodis John, whatever. Someone's going to get double teamed.
Cassius Howell.
Okay. Then somebody's going to eat, right? Like at the end of the day, they're going to go get their feast on.
There's going to be some devouring to be done, I believe.
Maybe I should do this on Friday. I'm banking on him having more sacks this year than he had last year.
Ooh, man, that would be nice because he had 10 last year.
I'm going 11-12.
11-12. I'm here for it.
Why not? Why like? Yeah, look. Obviously, the SEC is better than the Big Ten. That being said, in my opinion, even though Michigan won the national championship, I still think the SEC is better.
I agree.
But why
He's gonna
not?
Have better players around him, though.
Like, would anything surprise you if against Notre Dame he has 3 sacks? Would that surprise you?
No, it would not, because I saw Edge Cooper have 3 last year against Alabama.
Yep.
And I think that was a first-round draft choice at tackle.
Yeah.
Evan Neal.
That's correct.
So, no, it wouldn't surprise me at all.
Here's some numbers for
Unless his numbers are held down because somebody else got there first.
And I'm okay with that, too. I'm totally okay with that. He played in 14 games last year, 22 tackles, 15 solo. As a freshman. He had 2 sacks last year, or just overall his entire career. He has, where did it go? 12 sacks. Thank you very much. I lost it on my paper. 15 tackles for a loss, 1 forced fumble. Dude he's going to have an incredible season, I believe, for multiple reasons. A, because I think he's going to be better himself, and B, the parts around him are going to be better. Oh, and C, Coach Elko, Jay Bateman, the whole crew, Sean Spencer.
Well, two things I actually saw from him at A&M. And first of all, it was in the spring game. His spring game, I know, take that with a grain of salt, but I saw him do a spin move that, he looked like a 280-pound ballerina the way he moved around the tackle. Guys that size aren't supposed to move with that much agility. And then I saw him out in practice here a couple of weeks ago with that big sled that you have to block and push it and throw it to the side. And, it's heavy, and guys are pushing it, throwing it a couple of feet. He threw it like a foot to the side, and it fell on its side. And I'm thinking, that's just, that's not something that a normal person can do. So he's not normal.
So if he's projected as a potential first rounder.
He's a different species.
Is it possible 2-3 Aggies are in the first round next year?
Well, I don't ever want to say it's not. I don't want to say anything's impossible, but
like,
okay,
Connor comes up as a name that is a potential first rounder, right?
Okay.
Nick comes up as a guy. Could Shamar Turner?
Turner, I wouldn't say it's impossible. Yeah, maybe. I think it'd be unlikely, but certainly not impossible. I've covered two A&M teams that had 3 players taken in the first round.
Yep.
And one of them went 11-2, and the other one went, I think, 11-2, because it was in 2013 draft would have been 2012.
Yeah.
Or maybe, the 2013. So I guess that team went 9-4. I'm trying to remember how that was, because it was Johnny Manziel, it was Luke Jokel.
Yeah.
And it was no, I got it wrong. It was the 9-4 team, so I got it wrong because it was Johnny Manziel, Jake Matthews, and Mike Evans.
There you go.
And then I guess it would have been the 94 draft after the 93 season with Sam Adams, Reggie Brown, and Aaron Glenn.
Holy smokes! What a draft. Hey, let's hit a break here. Obi, what are you wearing?
I'm wearing camo.
I can't see you.
Camo, yeah, and that how lame. Basically, I'm wearing the shirt you wore 2 days ago.
Yeah, I'm glad I did it first.
Yeah,
but I think you did this one first.
Yeah,
you wore this one, right?
Yeah. But the point is, hey, I look good in it too.
Okay, it is 186 degrees, right? And I'm like my kids were like, "Why are you wearing long sleeves, bro?" And I said, "Bro, I got it off the tag. Triple chill effect." Proven to keep you cooler.
I think of it as kind of like, you see the Arabs out in the desert, and they're always, wearing long sleeve because
they don't have this stuff.
When it's this hot, well, they probably want to go buy it.
Yeah, duck camp. They can.
All you had to do is go online to duck camp, and they'll send it anywhere in the country.
You, right? 3 technologies working together to keep you cooler, at least in this particular one. Cooling minerals. I like cooling minerals. I think.
Yeah.
Active wicking. Not really sure what that wicking.
Wicking? Okay.
Wicking. And rapid drying. That I know.
Well, I need
you need it, buddy.
Yeah.
We both need it in this town.
I perspire quite a bit.
I'm gonna read this too. Others may say they're cooling, but we prove it. They're provers out there.
All I know is
Duck
it looks
camp,
good and it feels good.
This particular one is the Rockport Crew. Rockport Crew with the highest level of sun protection offer. The Rockport features ultra high UPF protection and cooling technology and easy wearing crew neck.
Yeah, I need to get mine and go down to Rockport, wear it down there. Home of Dat Win.
You go Saudi Arabia too? You talked about.
I don't know, but it's the Rockport Crew though.
Did you know? I think you know the answer to this. Their gear is made for people that live for the moments out there.
Yeah.
You know that, right? Where there are fish to catch. You've done that before.
I've caught a fish.
Birds to hunt. Haven't done that yet.
I got to admit, back in the day, I don't think I wasn't hunting like game birds. I was just there wasn't a grackle in my neighborhood that was safe.
Time to Kill.
I don't have that a lot right now.
Good movie, by the way. Isn't that what it's called? The Time to Kill?
Yeah, Matthew
McConaughey.
Yeah, Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah. I'm on Team Samuel in that movie, by the way, all the way.
I'm on Team Sandra Bullock in that movie.
And Football to Watch.
Oh,
you got to do that.
Got plenty of that.
Duckcamp.com. Go check it out. Duck Camp. Hi there, everybody. David Nuño, TexAgs Radio, presented by David Carter's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Go Hour, presented by The Warehouse at CC Creations. He's Olin Buchanan. I didn't say the date, so people are probably confused. What is today? The 21st. August 21st, 2024, Olin. You knew that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to whine for a moment, and this is not like a big whine, okay?
All right.
But I think 0 week should be a bigger deal. Not by us. I'm saying there should be more games of substance. I understand the thinking behind it. You always do the international game, and you probably want to shine some light on programs that don't typically get it. I would like for 0 week to have like 3. I want it to feel like a bowl game weekend where there's 3 real big non-conference action type games to really make it a college. It's 0 week because not everybody's playing, but you got 2 or 3 really big matchups, and in between we'll do 2 of teams that probably need the attention. That's just me.
Well, why not? I mean, there's a lot of big games in the first week, so it'd be the same, just starting it a week early.
Like
somebody could play maybe you could schedule 2 or 3 big games like that, and then maybe they'd have an open week the next week to get ready for their second game. I don't know.
Yeah, I just look at this and I'm like, the biggest game we have is really not that big of a game. It's 2 programs that I'm interested in, Florida State and Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
There's the schedule right there. I'm looking forward to that game, but I would like 1 or 2 marquee games.
Yeah.
But maybe because people are salivating for college football, it doesn't matter that much.
This is more like this is an appetizer and not necessarily a good one,
I'm going to watch Florida State, Georgia Tech.
Yeah, but
the rest 11 a.m. game, yeah, I'll be watching that, yeah.
The rest of them's like the stuffed mushrooms. I don't like them. That's the appetizer.
So there's like bowl games in early December or mid-December that I'll watch.
Yeah.
I'm not really interested in it, but it's football, so I like it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I really like once you get past Christmas and the games start picking up, right? The importance picks up.
Yeah, I got to admit that with what's happened with bowl games, I think
even those have lost their
interest. I think the early ones are often better than the ones before the playoffs. Because what I'm getting at is
those kids care more.
They care more.
Yeah.
They're not going off to the NFL, so it's their last game to play, or so they're into, or they want to look good for the Power 5 programs that might want to get them through the portal. And yet, like what we saw, I mean, people talking about Notre Dame looking so good last year against Oregon State. Oregon State had like half its starting lineup out. I'm exaggerating, but only a little bit. Look at the lineup A&M had out there against Oklahoma State. It's just not the same anymore.
It's only the same if your team wins.
I mean, it still counts as a win.
Right.
Because it's a team.
But I look at that loss to Oklahoma State like, you weren't really playing A&M.
Yeah.
Like, to me, and look, I threw out that idea 2 years ago and you hated it, and I get it. Maybe having some bowl games to start the year, right? Like, I understand the hate behind that, but because I want these games to matter. Do you incentivize these athletes more? If they're going to the NFL, they're probably like, I'll make more just by going to the NFL. I don't need to play in this game. I just wish it meant more to these guys, but I don't know how you make it more.
Well, I know. I can tell you right now.
NIL it?
No, well, you take all right, whatever the payout of that bowl game is, half of it goes to all the players. 60% goes to the players on the winning team. 40% goes to the players on the losing team.
And you get to host the World Series the next year.
And then players start saying, well, hey, I'm going to get paid, and I want to win because I'm going to get a bigger share. So it makes it.
Some players, and then those.
And you'd still lose some, but
the
I
top
think
20 picks that
but more players would stay in if they know they're going to get a paycheck out of it.
Yeah.
And again, if you win, you get 60% as opposed. So now not only do I want to show up and play, but I want to win even more because I got incentive.
Yep.
That's the way I look at it.
All right, let's talk about these games overall. So Florida State, Georgia Tech. We've talked about this matchup a few times. There's the whole Haynes King angle. DJU. One of the things about DJU, he hasn't ever been that good, and he was okay in the Pac-12, right? He was good, but I don't think he can carry a team the way Jordan Travis did. Jordan Travis, to me, carried Florida State as good as they were, and they were good, but he was remarkable.
And do they have the receivers that they had last year? Right. The big 6'6" guy, and then Keon Coleman. Yeah, I don't think I'd put money on it, but I would not be surprised if Georgia Tech pulls off the upset in that game.
Who do you think is going to win the ACC?
Clemson.
Yeah. Reputation?
Reputation.
You think
probably.
Kate Klubnik figures that out this year?
I mean, look at just how many players Florida State lost. I mean, really good ones.
Yep.
I know they got guys coming back, but they lost some really good ones. We just talked about the quarterback and the receivers.
And I know with Miami, you're like, prove it to me first.
Yeah.
So the other game right after that at 3 o'clock, Montana State at New Mexico. Whatever. I am intrigued by SMU and Nevada. I've heard so much good about SMU that they could compete in the ACC year one. Their offense is going to be solid. I'm intrigued by watching that game.
Okay.
You don't care?
If it's on, I'd watch it probably just because I like college football, but I don't know. I don't know what to expect from Nevada. SMU, who's their quarterback? And then he hurt?
They were showing some. I was watching something the other day that he was playing.
Okay. So, but yeah, go Ponies, I guess. Texas team, but that just doesn't do a whole lot for me. So this is an ACC extravaganza. You got Georgia Tech and Florida State, and then SMU.
Let's see. 22 hours ago, Preston Stone is going to be the starter versus Nevada. That's been official. Head coach Rhett Lashley and SMU have made their decision to start Preston Stone against Nevada. Fellow quarterback Kevin Jennings also expected to play in the game. He's got plenty of experience for SMU. By 23, he's played in 12 games for the Mustangs, leading one of the best offenses in program history to an 11-3 record and an AAC championship game last year.
So they go from the AAC to the ACC.
What's the better conference? ACC.
The ACC, yeah.
All right, let's hit a break. We'll come back with some text messages and some thoughts to close out the Go Hour. Right now, Rollo Insurance Time. They're the official insurance provider of TexAgs Radio. The difference is real. They're an independent insurance company built around educating you on exactly what you're paying for, doing the shopping for you, so that you can accomplish all of your insurance goals. They've got a great crew over there. You know Jason, you know Jackson, you know Keith, you know Morgan. They got an amazing crew. You'll see them all around town because they are hyper and super local, right? They are all around the Bryan-College Station area, the Brazos Valley, because they love this community. They love Aggie athletics, and they love being here. 53 offices in the great state of Texas. You can find them in Houston, DFW, Austin, San Antonio, East Texas, and West Texas. And they got offices all around the country as well. They'll take care of your car insurance, homeowners, farmers, ranchers, hobby farmers, business owners. And their priorities are simple: God, family, and country. And they are amazing. It is Rollo Insurance, 888-44-ROLLO, or go to rolloinsurance.com. That's 888-44-ROLLO or rolloinsurance.com. TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Go Hour, presented by The Warehouse at CC Creations. Our 24 and 24. Nick Scorton was our number 3. Matthew Dawson, who helped put this all together, sent me this text. Scorton was tied for our number 2 player with 89 points out of the 96. But he was ranked a little bit lower on the fans list, just a little bit. And he also puts out there, Nevada has a new coach who was Texas's DC last year, Jeff Choate.
Okay.
So, a little intriguing storyline right there.
I just learned something about Nevada that I never knew before.
Matthew Dawson's good at that.
I do know their former coach, like 10, 15 years ago, coach was the guy who I don't know if introduced the pistol formation.
Who's that?
Alt. His name was Alt.
Okay.
I can't think of what his first name was. But
he's the one who invented the pistol.
The pistol formation, yeah.
Huh. Interesting. Very interesting. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Caitlin Torn, I know we got some text messages to get to.
Yes, we do. We've also had some chatter on the YouTube about a recent quote from Bobby Petrino saying, I don't watch the kicker. I quit watching kickers after last year's experience. I don't watch them at all, not in practice, not nothing. I don't watch it. I asked, did he make it? And they say yes or no.
I understand. I think A&M's going to be better at it this year.
I do too.
Yeah, on that one in Alabama, one of the guys, I won't say his name, but he just got, one of the guys blocking, just got blown up and just fell backwards. Like they might as well have had me out there.
Right.
And I'm like, what's going on? So,
what else, Caitlin?
Yes, we also have a text from Ag Pops that says, Nuño and OBU agree, trap games, September 14th at Florida, 2:30 p.m., November 2nd at South Carolina, 6 or 7 p.m., and November 23rd at Auburn. And time is TBA, and Ags will win all home games.
As of right now, there are no trap games until you prove to me you win games, right? So, and I don't look at Florida as a trap game. I look at that as a road, tough SEC test for Texas A&M. I don't look at it as a trap game. South Carolina potentially, or Mississippi State potentially could be, but I don't look at it that way because I don't think A&M has earned the right to have trap games yet.
But plus, doesn't Florida come in between Bowling Green or McNeese and Bowling Green?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I don't think that works as a trap. If you got to me, it's a trap if the next game is
the big game,
a big game.
Like Arkansas could be a trap. Because if A&M is undefeated, I'm just in a hypothetical scenario, heading into that Arkansas game, are you already thinking ahead to a potential undefeated showdown against Missouri? I don't think Coach Elko will allow that to happen.
And I think South Carolina, I guess there's the question is, well.
The hangover after LSU?
What I would think would be a bigger trap is New Mexico State after that. Let's not forget that New Mexico State, as crazy as something, beat Auburn last year.
That's right.
And, you're going to have New Mexico State in between two conference road games. Now, is there there is a open date, though, before New Mexico State.
Caitlin, what else?
We have another text that says, good job saying Nevada correctly, Nuño. Nevada was terrible last year, and I assume SMU should win easily.
Chris Alt.
Did I say Nevada or Nevada? What did I say? It's Nevada, right?
That's how I just say it.
But Nevada. Did I say Nevada or did I say Nevada?
I don't know. Do you say tomato or do you say tomato?
Tomato. Who doesn't say tomato? Actually, I've never said tomato in my life. Have you actually heard anybody say Colorado tomato?
No.
Ever, right?
No.
What's another one like that? There's
potato and potato.
Nobody's ever said potato. Ever.
Not.
I don't believe in this century or the last, anybody's ever called it potato.
Yeah.
I know there's another one that's famous.
There's plenty of them out there. Yeah.
Huh. How about this? Chase in Houston. What a great birthday gift for me. A&M having Texas play in College Station. I guess that would be his birthday.
Huh, that is. By the way.
Yes, sir.
So we talked about this earlier. Does the idea of Texas possibly having a really good season keep you up at night?
No.
Yeah, that was something that was discussed on CBS Sports Line.
Somebody said that?
Yeah, it was a local writer who I like, but they were asked what keeps every fan base in the SEC up at night, and they had a local writer and guy saying what keeps Aggies up at night is the prospect of Texas having a really big year and A&M not.
That's not kept me up ever.
No, I mean I would worry about. I think most Aggies worry about the A&M underachieving again?
Yes. Mine is very simple. The offensive line.
Yeah.
And you protect my quarterback. That keeps me up at night. I have not once thought about Texas. Like when I go to bed, I'm like, oh my God, I really hope we're not bad in Texas. Never. In fact, I don't know a human. Well, now I do, whoever it is.
Well, I did a survey in the back.
People don't think that way. They
I don't think so. I think maybe some old Ags do.
No, they don't think that way either.
Because when I first moved to the Eagle, I met a handful of people that say, I don't care if we go 1-11 as long as it beats Texas. But I think some years in the SEC might have changed that.
Yeah, no, I'm not thinking that. I'm thinking, can you protect my quarterback, please?
Yeah. Can you not underachieve?
Yeah. Those two things I think about well before whatever happens to them. Because even if they're good, A&M is going to rock the crowd there at Kyle Field when they play.
Well,
good job,
I just
Olin.
worry about Texas in November.
Yep. Oh, by the way, it's Nevada, not Nevada.
It's
I don't know
Nevada?
what I said.
Okay,
Whatever.
Nevada.
Now I'm confused. We'll see you in a bit. Hey, everybody. We're back here on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Hour number 2 of the program. Every Wednesday morning at 9 a.m., we catch up with our guy, John Harris, the professor from the Houston Texans. He is their sideline reporter and, of course, footballtakeover.com. Let's go straight to the Boss Firearms Hotline. That's where we find the professor. John, how you doing, buddy? Interesting situation developing here on the line. John Harris, are you there?
Yes, David, I am here. Can you hear me?
Hey, buddy, how are you?
I'm hot. It's another, I don't know what's it going to be today, 98. Thank God we're starting practice at 9 o'clock because it's pretty god-awful already, so I'm trying to stay in the shade before they even get started because you know what it's like out here at the Houston Methodist Training Center. There's no shade anywhere. So just trying to find a little bit before they start practice here at 9 o'clock.
Well, I think I read, John, you can probably give me a little more clarity on this. D'Amico likes the idea of having the guys practice in the heat, not because it's necessarily going to mimic game day conditions, but more for the mental toughness of having to go through that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's talked about that with us. The media, he's talked with Mark and I, he's talked about it in production meetings for TV. He's kind of said the same thing. It's really, I think there are two things that work. Number one, there's some mental toughness aspects. And I think number two, I've asked every single player that's come through here, I don't know how many times, would you rather be inside playing on the turf or out here playing on grass? And 100 times out of 100, it is, grass. Look, it's 72 degrees inside, nice and cool. It's 1,000 degrees outside. It's hot lava. They would want to be on the grass. It's something about, the grass takes a little bit. It feels better on their legs when they're done with practice. I'm sure D'Amico probably remembers what that's like and probably hears the players about that. So I think that's also part of it too. It's definitely mental toughness because you see these guys at the end, and it's not just, here. I mean, obviously you guys there in College Station with the Aggies and, all the teams that play in Texas and down here in the South, you get to that last 15, 20 minutes of practice when it's like this, and you're just praying you get through it as a player. You're praying. You're like, oh, my God, don't throw the ball over this way. Don't throw the ball. Oh, thank God. So it's just more about survival, and that's why a lot of teams, end up going, up north. Like we went to the Greenbrier. We did that because you want the last 15 to 20 minutes of practice to be, profitable in some sense. You want something out of it. You don't want to just, okay, we're just surviving these last 15 minutes of practice. And it was a stark difference those years. But I absolutely understand why D'Amico has these guys outside because it does build mental toughness. Now, the flip side of that is we don't play an outdoors game until October 13th when we go to New England. And that's New England. And then we go to Green Bay. So we go north for the first two outdoor games that we have all season long. So there's a part of me that's kind of like, yeah, I like the mental toughness, but we really don't have to beat ourselves into submission. And D'Amico understands that. So there have been a practice or two inside, and there probably will be one every now and again as well.
Talking to John Harris on the Boss Firearms Hotline. Johnny, I want to get back to the NFL in a moment, but I want to ask you some college football questions. First off, how many SEC teams you think have a legit chance of making the playoffs this year? I've seen people guess anywhere between 7 and 9. Are you on that camp?
7 or 9 make the playoffs?
No. Have a chance to make the playoffs, Johnny. Have a chance.
Okay. Have a chance? Yeah, I still, even at that point, I mean, I think realistically it's probably, I'd say 5 to 7. I do think that 3 will make it for sure. And I think maybe a 4th will get in, depending on who that 4th is and how that 4th comes to be. I'll be curious to see, if, and not just the SEC, but I'm curious to see if a team ends up playing in a conference championship game, loses that game, and then loses an opportunity to go to the playoff as a result. I wonder if conferences will start pulling back from that conference championship game. Because I've heard rumors over the years that, oh, man, that could be the case. And I don't know, as you start to expand the playoff, that might be a little bit more superfluous. Hey, I don't really want to. And also it goes the other way, too. A team 13-0 or 12-0, whatever it is, they're a lock for the playoff. They want to go messing around playing for a conference championship when we all know yes, the SEC championship is very important, but a national championship and having the opportunity to play for national championship is that much more important. So I think there's going to be some interesting things at the end of it, but I do think there's probably, I think you could go 5 to 7 that have a legit shot, and I think that 3 to 4 are going to make it.
Talking with John Harris here on TexAgs Radio. Johnny, let's talk about A&M and their offensive line. One of the things that Billy was talking about was the ability with a lot of these guys to move them from inside to outside. Amaj Reed Adams came from Kansas. He can play inside. He can play outside. The ability for Mark Naboo to play center but also play guard. When you have that flexibility, obviously I think you want guys that specialize, but the ability like Kenyon Green, who you know quite well, to play on multiple parts of the line, what that does for an offensive line unit.
Well, I think it goes two ways, David. I think every offensive lineman has to have a home. He has to have a home. And what I mean by that is, take a guy, and it's funny you bring this up because we were just talking about this for a while ago. Xavier Su'a-Filo, who played here with the Texans, that was one of the things that I championed. Like, look, he played left tackle, he played left guard, and he's got versatility, flexibility. That's really what you want from offensive linemen, right? Well, then we found out every time Bill O'Brien mentioned, oh, yeah, he's versatile. He would use the V word. And then it really grew to, well, wait a second, versatility means he sucks because he can't play any of those positions. He can line up there, but he can't play there. And so Xavier never had a home. It was always like he was renting left guard space. He was renting right guard space. He even rented like right tackle space at some point. And it's like, no. You got to have a home. You got to have a home where this guy is a center. And in a pinch, a guy can go play guard because you're going to need it. You're going to need those pinches at some point. You're going to need somebody to go play guard in the middle of a game. That happens a lot in college football. It happens a lot in the NFL. The tough part in the NFL is you only have, on game day, you only have 8 guys you can pick from. Well, if you've already got a guy banged up in the starters, and then he goes out and another guy gets a freak injury, all of a sudden you're down to linemen, 6 and 7 going into the game, and now you got to try and fit that together. College football, you can have more than 8. You don't have to worry about that roster restriction. Now, you don't want to go to linemen 8, 9, and 10 in a football game, but it is good if a guy can play multiple positions. Like, hey, we got to move you from guard out to tackle. Santos is hurt. We need you out there. Okay, I'll go do that. And Kenyon did that. But I think that, especially offensive linemen, they got to have a home. What's this guy's home? And it can't be, well, he can play center, he can play guard, he can play tackle. No. What's his home position? Get him as comfortable as he can in that position. And then in a pinch, all right, well, we can put this guy out at tackle if we need to. We can put him at center if we need to. And that's important to have. But if you think about what was A&M's best offensive line, it was that 2020 group. And what was the constant theme of that 2020 group? Continuity and health for the most part. Those guys stayed relatively healthy throughout 2020. They were able to grow together as a group. And at the end of the year, you saw arguably the best offensive line in the country. So I think that's really, from an offensive line standpoint, more important to me than flexibility is continuity and having the same guys week in, week out. Now, I know injuries, I get all that. I know it. But the less of that you can have, the better off you're going to be. And if you have guys playing as close to their homes as possible, the better off you're going to be as well. So I think versatility is good, but I think sometimes it can be a double-edged sword because sometimes you're like, well, no, maybe he should be over at right guard instead of no, you got to find a home. Like, this guy's home is here, and that's where he should play. And only in a pinch do you want to move that guy out of that spot somewhere else. That's a tough thing to do, but if that group is coached well, as I think it's going to be, or at least I'll put it this way, it's going to be coached better than it was the last couple of years. I think that line will be okay, even if they've got to move some parts around throughout the season.
Johnny, I want to talk a little bit about Tom Brady. He's become Hot Sports Take Jake, and his most recent one, while I don't disagree with the premise, I think there are obvious examples that this doesn't match. And he says that the NFL has dumbed down the game to get rookie quarterbacks to start. He called it a tragedy. We're focusing on these rookies to play early. You got a guy like C.J. Stroud who can absolutely play as a rookie. Andrew Luck, Peyton Manning. There's certain names that I think have proven they can play as a rookie, but I do understand the thought that we're playing a lot more rookie QBs early on. Do you agree that they've kind of dumbed down the game to get these guys ready to go early?
Nah, I don't buy that. Here's the thing. I think it's more the fact that in college, these guys are getting more of an education on football than maybe they've ever gotten before. You know, there are some guys that are going down from from the NFL to college. They're carrying some of that with them. I think about Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow ran Joe Brady, and I know it's Steve Beckdorf, the OC, but it was Joe Brady's passing game. Well, where did Joe Brady get that passing game from? Well, he got it from the Saints. He went and was with Sean Payton, and had been there for a while. When LSU, Ed Orgeron, went looking for a passing game coordinator, he saw what Joe Brady was doing with the Saints. He wanted that installed. So Joe Burrow now gets the opportunity for the last year while he's there running essentially a version of the New Orleans Saints offense. He's learning the verbiage. So he comes to the league with an understanding of offense, of what to look for that might be a little bit different. You think back to Tom Brady's days, he's at Michigan where you're running 21 personnel. It's I formation. It's the same formation almost every play. It's a pro set, maybe changing things up on third down. And the coverages back then were so vanilla and easy. So when he gets to New England and now he gets the Earhart system, well, of course, that system is going to be sort of foreign and different to him, you know, because he's never done it before. He's never heard anything like this before. He's getting a football education as a rookie. And that's the other thing. He sat as a rookie. He's a sixth-rounder. So he had all year to be able to sit there and learn the offense and be able to come back the next year and be the backup. And then, of course, an injury puts him in the lineup at that point. But I think things were so vanilla back then that when you came from college to the NFL, it was this stark, oh, my God, what am I looking at? I've talked to CJ. I've talked to Tank. I've talked to guys that were rookies last year, even guys that have been in the league. And I would ask them about learning the offense. And they're like, oh, my God. CJ gets the play in his ear, and he's got to repeat it to everybody. And it's like it takes 2 minutes to recite that play. But there are colleges that are putting those things in, maybe not to that degree. I think where Tom Brady is being in the hot take territory is that he doesn't understand what's going on in the college game. He's talked to Bill O'Brien, and Bill O'Brien put in like one-word name calls, play calls. And, that's all college football is about. It's like, no, it's not. So to me, it's more he's not understanding what's going on in the college game. He does understand the NFL game, but he doesn't understand the college game. There's a lot going on for these quarterbacks. And when you see them go up to the board in a meeting or a 30 visit, and you're like, dang, they're pretty advanced. These guys, these quarterbacks that are coming to the NFL now are way more advanced cerebrally. And then on top of that, you throw on the movement skills and those kind of things that you see with Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams, Drake May, et cetera. These guys can all move, too. So you've got that element. So, look, Tom's going to say what Tom's going to say. I think he's dead wrong about this. I just think that you have a lot more focus, from these quarterbacks' perspective to learn the game that are coached pretty well in college. Like, I remember CJ, at one point during his rookie year, he's like, when I was at Ohio State, I handled all the pass protections. I'd made all the changes in protection. I did everything at the line of scrimmage. That was something that he did. Well, he got to Houston, and that was not – Bobby Slowick said, no, you don't have to do that. We'll let the line do that. And so it was like, oh, okay. But at least he had knowledge of it. He at least knew he could do it because he had done it at Ohio State. So I don't think that was something Tom Brady was doing at Michigan because really back then, what really was there to do? There was slide the protection, use the backs in protection. That was it. There really wasn't much else. Nowadays, with all these different schemes you see in college, there's so many different things that are going on. I would go so far as to say, David, and I know I've gone long on this, but this kind of ticks me off. I would even go so far as to say that college defenses and offenses are much more complex. In fact, this is not even a hot take. This is something I believe. I think that college teams are way more advanced and detailed than they are in the NFL. But what you have in the NFL are just players that can make things happen that much quicker, faster, and they're adults back there making plays as opposed to kids. But you see some of the things the NFL's doing versus, man, watch this defense that such and such school is running, and you're like, whoa, that's wild. That's crazy what they're doing. there's a lot of stuff happening at high school and college that you don't even see at the NFL level. Now, the NFL also has the opportunity to spend all day, every day with these guys to learn their offense, learn their defense, et cetera. So to me, it's just more about the speed, the holes, the gaps, everything being smaller, tighter, all that. But colleges, high schools, they're doing some advanced stuff that nobody wants to believe because, the NFL is the highest level. Man, get out of here with that. Coaches at high school and college are just as good, just haven't had the opportunity as coaches in the NFL.
Johnny, how about John Mechie? How he's looking that last preseason game? Just a little glimpse of maybe the future.
Yeah, better, thankfully, because he hadn't really done anything in training camp up until that point, to be honest. I was worried, and still am to a degree, because it was a really good outing, a great outing, and it was like he finally got some confidence. He caught that ball on the sideline over his shoulder. He didn't get in bounds, but I said on the broadcast that was enough to get his confidence, and hopefully it's enough to get his confidence, and it was. He got his confidence. He started rolling after that, and it was like, okay, this feels good now. This feels like what we expected from Mechie. Now, the thing about it is this wide receiver cut is tough. I mean, really, really, really tough. And the thing about it is, beyond the big three, there are a couple other receivers that you go, okay, this guy can play special teams, and he's really good on special teams. That's not what John does. This other guy has great hands. John doesn't. This guy is big, has size, and John doesn't. So, it's going to be interesting how, when it comes to cutdown day, how John is kind of perceived. Where does he fit in for this team? What can be his role? And I know that's how, NFL teams, I know that's how Nick Caserio thinks about it. Like, what's his role? Is he going to be a third down player? Because he's not really a fourth down player. So where are you going to get value from Mechie in that wide receiver group? With other guys, you'll get it on fourth down. But it was really good to see John bounce back, have that game. We got a joint practice tomorrow with the LA Rams. Hopefully there's more of that from him. And then in the game, he does it again. And I think that'll be enough to kind of sway the coaches like, okay, this is it. I think we're seeing the what we wanted to see out of John Mechie, because the first 3 or 4 weeks of training camp, I don't think we saw that. Last week we saw it, the game we saw it, and hopefully we see it in spades throughout this week.
Johnny, last thing for you is a college question with some NFL ties. Colorado and Deion Sanders. I'm rooting against him. I'm sorry, I'll say it out loud. I just don't like the way he goes about his business. Warren Sapp, I hadn't seen him in forever, and then last week I saw him. I guess he's the defensive coordinator there at Colorado, or he's on one of the coaches for their defense, I should say. And he says they won't struggle stopping the run. When you look at Colorado and the changes that they've made, and also going into the Big 12, what kind of year do you think Deion and company can have?
I think they're talented enough to get to 6 wins, but I think they're dysfunctional enough to not get more than 6. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Deion being, boy, I got the full Big 12 experience with Colorado when I was at Big 12 Media Days, and it was I'll tell you off the air a few things, David, but, it was Deion talking on both sides of his mouth. He goes up there and he talks about, I don't want anybody coming to Colorado if all they're looking for is the bag. Like, wait a second. This guy said when he was drafted, had Detroit drafted him, he's going to ask for so much money they'd have put him on layaway. So, like, he's contradictory and talks about both sides of his mouth. And, then he gets after CBS when you know as well as I do that CBS, the TV in Colorado, CBS Radio, CBSSports.com are all completely different entities. And he just sounds like a moron going up there going, I'm not talking to you because you're from CBS. It's like, they're not connected. And by the way, the person you just said no to, he works for the radio station in which your games are broadcast on. So they're talented enough with Shedeur Sanders to win some games in the Big 12. Warren Sapp being brought in as a defensive line coach is one of the most atrocious things I've ever seen. To have my son, I knew my son was going to Colorado, and they're like, oh, yeah, by the way, Warren Sapp's going to be head coach. I'd have been like, I would have my kid in the transfer portal in 2 seconds. He's one of the worst human beings potentially there is in the NFL. I've been told that by many, many people that I know close to me have had experiences with him. He is just, to me, unworthy of being a coach. But it goes back to this. And he said this David at the Big 12 Media Days, and I just thought this was dumb. He talked about having professionals as coach. And it's like, fans, I get they want to go to the NFL, but you coach college kids. The last time these guys were in the NFL, they were being treated like adults. There's a different way you coach them than you coach college kids. I guarantee Warren Sapp's going to do something stupid at Colorado, and it's going to turn into a whole bleep show. And then Deion's going to want to go wherever Shador's going next year. He ain't going to want to stay at Colorado. It's just going to be think last year, David. I don't even know if we talked about this. He's got Sean Lewis, one of the better offensive minds in college football, and he removes him from being the offensive coordinator because Sean Lewis is running an NFL-type scheme with a bunch of option routes and read routes. And Shador's like, nah, man, we don't need to have that in our offense. And so what does Deion do? He demotes him. Sean Lewis goes and becomes the head coach at San Diego State. San Diego State with Sean Lewis got more wins than Colorado will this year. It's just a shame because I think Deion has some good intentions, but his ego is going to cost him in a big, big way.
That is John Harris on the Boss Firearms Hotline. Johnny, appreciate your time as always, buddy. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, D. Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Later, man. Enjoy the practice. John Harris, my buddy. Yeah, he is. All right, we'll hit a break here. When we come back, Coach G will be in studio. First game at home, at least, later on today. We'll look forward to talking to Coach G about that. Right now, if you've got pain from arthritis, that's not fun. If you got bone-on-bone pain, that's not fun. It robs you of a lot of joy in the things that you love to do. So let's stop being robbed of joy. Who wants to be a thief of fun? That sucks. Let's call the good people at QC Kinetics because there are effective ways to deal with the pain that you have to make you love life and doing things that you love to do, right? And I'm not talking about surgery or drugs. I'm talking about some advanced regenerative medicine techniques that they have with cellular therapies there at QC Kinetics that give you lasting relief. And again, the place to go in the Brazos Valley is QC Kinetics because they use cutting-edge treatments that accelerate your own body's healing properties, revitalizing your joints so you can move again. So if you're living with chronic pain and arthritis from injury, you need to know that surgery and steroids and pain pills are not your only options. You no longer need that to be the way you go about feeling better. It's QC Kinetics with their advanced regenerative medicine to help treat that pain, enhance your joints, restore your mobility, and give you that long-term relief with no downtime. The local medical professionals at QC Kinetics are ready to help you get your life back with regenerative, restorative cellular treatments for your achy joints. The future of medicine is right now. Call them up at 979-452-6000, QC Kinetics. 979-452-6000. That's 979-452-6000. TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Coach G is in the house to talk a little A&M soccer as they get things started later on. Well, home started later on today. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. It's game day.
It is game day. And at Ellis, there's nothing like it.
Yeah, and we're excited because obviously, we're off to a good start with a 5-0 win on the road, but finally get back. The 12th man is back in town, and which means it's time for us to kick things off. And 7 o'clock home game is a fun event for us.
So last year, early on, you took on some of the best teams in college soccer. Obviously, Florida State, we know. And that was a game that I thought you were the better team in that game. Unfortunately, they scored a late goal. How nice was it to start off against a team that will probably be in the NCAA tournament, who won their league, and go there on the road, by the way, and win 5-0?
Well, it was great for the most part. We returned the exact same team that we started with last year. I mean, we returned 10 starters from last year's side that finished the NCAA tournament again at Florida State. That was a tough 1-0 loss to FSU, who then in the next round of the NCAA tournament crushed Texas 5-0, and then beat Stanford 5-1 in the national championship game. So we were the only team that really played them within a goal, and that was a back and forth game in Tallahassee in the NCAA tournament. So we knew we had a lot of power coming back. The only position we really had to replace on the field for sure was Kenna Caldwell, our goalkeeper, who now is playing in the NWSL.
Orlando?
Yeah. So she's there with Ali Watt, as a matter of fact. So, we kind of thought that we might be pretty good, and we are. And so, and even with that, one of our captains, just before the game, decision was made that we probably should hold Anderson Williams out. She was, kind of a respiratory issue. Let's not put her out in deep southeast Texas if she's not, feeling real well. So, last about 10 minutes before kickoff, Phil Stevenson goes over and tells Grace Ivy, "Hey, you got the start today." And so Grace goes out and scores 2 goals.
It delivers, yeah.
Yeah. So, really a great. I think a great first impression by a lot of our players. Sydney Becerra, 2 bombs, one goal from about 25 yards, another one from about 30. And that was, we had to score from deeper positions because Lamar was kind of packing it in a little bit. And, we didn't have a lot of chances from in close. So, if you can't score from there, then you've got to hopefully be able to hit from distance, and we were able to. So I feel good about it. We have it's an upgrade in opponent today. With the University of Denver comes in. They've won their league the last 6 years. So this is a team that is athletic. They took University of North Carolina. They were ahead of them for a good portion of their game this past Thursday. End up losing North Carolina 2-1. But that's there's nothing wrong with that type of result. And they come in, they're well coached. They're very, like I said, they're very athletic. They're very tough on the break. So we're going to have our hands full this evening. Again, I'm excited that the 12th man is here. So hopefully that'll help us with the energy that we're going to need. And there's some new stuff out at Ellis. We've got we've got new food trucks that'll be out there, which I think will be kind of fun for the fans. And the pitch is in great shape. We've got new lights. We've got some new things going on out there, and more than anything, the team is playing really, really well. So I think it'll be an exciting match.
So to me, when you take on a team on the road that wins their league,
the last 2 years,
that scores points when it comes to selections. Am I right?
Yeah, the way the RPI works in our sport is, you get more. You don't get any bonus points for winning games in your league, which is kind of silly because the SEC is some of our toughest games. We've got 7 teams ranked in the top 25 in the SEC. So, which is unfortunate. Now you get credit for beating good teams when they look at it with the eye test, but you get points in the RPI for beating teams that win games. And Lamar is going to win a lot of games this year, we think. So same thing with Denver. They're going to win a lot of games this year, especially once they get into the Horizon League, into the Summit League. And the same thing with the team that we're going to play on Saturday in our Fish Camp game. Right. You've got Fairfield, who comes in undefeated and is going to do really well in their league. Again, they're favored. They're one of the favorites to win their league. So you want to play these teams. You're going to get bonus points from hopefully beating these teams, but you get even more bonus points from winning on the road. So people kept asking, why are you going to Beaumont? Texas A&M doesn't go to Beaumont. Well, the 12th man wasn't here yet. School hadn't started. So, we usually go on the road the first week of the season for that reason.
Right.
And if you can go on the road and you can get a win that's going to get you bonus points on the RPI, that's kind of the method behind our madness.
So let's talk a little bit about the 10 returning starters, because I thought you all were playing great soccer at the end of the year last year. So how can that be an extension when you have a group that understands the philosophy, has proven it before, and starts the season on the same note?
Well, that's it. I mean, you build upon what you do well, and you try to bring in some new players, some new ingredients to what you need. And our biggest thing was, we needed some more goal punch. Some of the final thing, we missed so many chances from really within 6 yards of the goal. So our big thing for the freshman class, but also for the transfer portal, was bringing in people who could finish. And so we wanted to bring in one more striker. So we went into the transfer portal and we brought in 5. And that was kind of what we wanted to do. And, Phil Stevenson, as our associate head coach, kind of phrases, and it's true, we're really good speed daters. And what speed dating is in the transfer portal is it's a really short window. You get basically a day and a half when kids are on campus. And Texas A&M is a pretty darn impressive place when people are on campus and you're showing them this is what the school's about. This is what, when we show the video of the chances that we create for our striker, for our person right in the tip of the spear, they're like, and we play in front of this crowd and we could do this and we have these academic resources and we have this. Where do I sign? Right. And that's kind of what happened. So we were able to get, an all-conference player from Rutgers. We were able to get, an all-conference player from, out of the Big 12. You're able to get, an All-American out of Grand Canyon. You're able to bring in players who have experience, and sometimes 2 years of experience, sometimes 3 years of experience, and sometimes they have just one season where that they're looking to get that bounce before they go pro. And that's the kind of players that we're able to bring in. So Kennedy Clark, who was a big-time player for Xavier, who was had a great year in the Big East last year, Allie Lowry from Rutgers, and especially Leah Pirro is on the All-America Heisman Trophy watch list from Grand Canyon, as well as Bree Severance, who's people haven't seen yet. She's coming off an injury from Kansas. Those 4 are going to be really, really influential types of players for us as we kind of stack up our attack. Plus, we returned Jazz Wilkinson, who's our leading scorer from last year. So that's been the biggest thing on top of the 10 starters that return, because we return the entire defense, we return all the setup people in the midfield, and you return our really dangerous wingers in Mia Pante and Micaiah. You guys know you guys know Mac from here, and we get back Kate Colvin, who was out for most of last year. So it's an exciting team. Yeah, it's exciting. Let's close up with this Friday, a big event happening. I know there's a soccer tournament in town. My girls are in it, so there'll be a lot of people in town. Yeah, so first time ever, and this is thanks to you guys here at TexAgs. This started with Brandon Jones, y'all's CEO. We were talking a year ago with he and Allie Russell about y'all were talking about we'd love to do some sort of a kickoff event. TexAgs has always done such a great event with Jimbo and everything with the kickoff event y'all do for football. We'd love to do something with soccer, and it kind of got started late last year. We never really got it going, but this year we're like, let's see if we can do something like that. We're trying to figure out what's a good venue to do it. We wanted to do it off campus, and it kind of came to us that Stage 12 is a perfect place to do something to kind of hype the new season. Also to talk about a little bit with Texas Aggies United and kind of kick off our NIL program as well. So it's kind of two-phase. We'll be downstairs out on Stage 12. All of our players will be there. This is going to be on the Friday night over at Stage 12. Players get a chance to be around our coaches, around our players. Allie Russell will be the hostess for it. I think you guys will be there as well. Yep. And it starts at 8:30. and it'll be a lot of fun, food, beverage, all that kind of stuff. And then we have a VIP event at the same time upstairs in the air conditioning that also is going on. That starts at 8 o'clock. So you can go to you can go to our website and see what it's all about. You can sign up there. There's a link. You can go right to it. But I think it's going to be a lot of fun, number one, but also it's a way for us to kind of kick off our NIL program. Right now we don't have anything NIL wise, and it's kind of the inconvenient truth about Aggie soccer is, we are the most successful and the least funded program on campus. We don't have an NIL program. Our facility is by far the least funded on campus, and so when you look at what women, for us, it's the 50th year of women's athletics at Texas A&M. You look at how much has not been invested in Texas A&M soccer and how successful the program has been. We've got some catching up to do. And this will be a part of trying to kind of get a little bit of that going. And I know, people love to invest in football, and we love that too. And they love to invest in all the men's sports, and they don't like to invest in the women's sports here. And we'd like to try to turn that around a little bit, and especially for the teams that win so much. We've won 6 SEC championships. We'd like to try to keep that going, and put a little bit of investment into it. You might find that it's a little easier for us to win instead of having to kind of do it with one arm tied behind our back.
Everybody, listen, go out on Friday. Coach G, thank you so much, sir. I appreciate you as always.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
We'll hit a break. RC Slocum next on TexAgs Radio. I got to apologize to Louie. I'm way late. I mean, this should have started 12 minutes ago. But Coach G was on a roll. He was great. TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. So I recorded an interview with R.C. Slocum yesterday to run today because I love R.C. Slocum. You love R.C. Slocum. Here is R.C. Slocum. The great R.C. Slocum with us here on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. R.C., thank you for coming in.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
You looking good, man.
I'm good, man. Been working out a little bit.
Yeah. Playing some golf?
I played some in July. Went on vacation, played some, but our course is under repair right now, so I haven't played.
Well, this heat, by the way, has been on another level.
And 100-degree temp, that might be a factor too.
So let's talk about this upcoming football season. You know, Archie, we've spoken before about the changes with Coach Elko, but just your level of optimism as we are, a little bit more than a week out from the first game.
I'm really excited about it. I like Coach Elko. I think he's first of all, I think he's really smart, and I think he's a good guy, straight shooter. I think there's a high level of accountability with the players. I think he's put together a real good coaching staff. So I'm optimistic, about this season. And I don't know how many games we'll win, anything like that, but I'm optimistic about where we are and where I think we're going.
Well, I think that his level of detail, attention to detail to me is something that, look, I liked Jimbo quite a bit, but something had to be different. And I think Mike is answering a lot of the questions that maybe Jimbo wasn't able to answer.
Well, I'm not going to comment on where we were. I will say unequivocally, I'm very excited and positive about where we are now and where I think we're headed.
Do you like the idea of a defensive-minded head coach back at A&M?
Yeah, what I like, he's a defensive-minded coach, but I've been out to practice, and I see him fulfilling the role of the head coach. I see him moving around in practice, and he'll see all the tapes. He sees the drills in practice, and I think he's a head coach to our whole team. And I admire it. I know there are people that do it other ways successfully, but in the big picture, I've always felt that the head coach should be the head coach. If you want to be the quarterback coach, be the quarterback coach. If you want to be the linebacker coach, be the linebacker coach.
Right.
If you want to be the head coach, then that's your team that's there, special teams. And one time I told one of our coaches, not our just immediate past, but one of the coaches said, you know what, when the team's out there on the field, that's your team out there. Special teams, offense, defense, the whole thing. And if you're over on the sideline with that big old play chart looking at it, there's a whole game going on out there, and it's your team. And someone needs to be evaluating what's going on out there. So when it comes time to go for it on fourth down or punt on fourth down or air it out a little bit, whatever those things are, you're the one that can do something about it, and you need to be using your ability to analyze what's going on with your team. Sometimes you get in a game and you say, man, we can't slow these guys down. We got to take some chances. Yeah. We got to air it out and do some things because we're not going to be able to slow them down. Or you can say, you know what, these guys are not going to score many points. So let's play to win the thing, and we're with the football, protect the ball, do those things, and punt the ball and play defense. Yeah. So anyway, you make those things like a guy that was running a company would be looking at not just one division of the company. He'd be looking at the whole thing.
The whole picture.
Yeah, the whole picture of his company. This is Mike Elko's team, and I admire the way, from what I've seen, the way he's managing his team.
I love the way you answered that, too, because I feel that exact way. When it comes to Connor Wigman, you've been to practice a few times. What are you seeing from this young man?
Oh, I'm encouraged. He looks like he's gotten stronger. I've talked to people out there. He's been on a good program working, and it looks like he's put on maybe a little bit of weight, but certainly some strength, and he looks good. And we've got 2 or 3 other guys out there who are pretty good too.
It's a good quarterback room to have that much.
I think it is, man. I really do.
And then, something that I'm sure you've paid attention to, the defensive line. Like, it's not the first team and the second team. It's just a lot of talent. Yeah. And yes, there's going to be some starters, but those guys are going to play.
Yeah, that's the way good defensive lines look. I'll say that. We passed the eye test. We've got some big physical guys that can move.
How much does Torian remind you? And I hate using the comparison of Dat because Dat was a special, legendary type player. Right. But there are some similarities in the way they go about their business.
Yeah, he's into it. He plays hard, practices hard, has good movement. He has all the tools. I think he's a really good player and a good kid. I think that's a big comparison with Dat because Dat was an exceptional person.
Yes, that's absolutely the case. With Notre Dame coming to town, there's questions about the offensive line. Not that I expect you to know the X's and O's of Notre Dame, but strength, A&M could be defensive line. If Notre Dame's got some questions about the offensive line, is this going to be a game that you think will be won in the trenches and maybe a low-scoring game?
I don't have any idea.
Yeah, right.
You know, I think they'll be a really good team. So this is a great test for us. And one of the things that I experienced, and I really believe this, that having to get ready that first game for a really good opponent, I think that's good for your team. I mean, we can't say, well, we're going to win a couple of games here, and then we'll get better as we go. This one here, we better be good coming out of the chute. We're playing against a really good team. And I think that's good for our mental and physical preparation. I think it'll be good for our season as we go through.
Am I right? 98, Florida State, you had to prepare for. That was a tough game to start, right?
It was, and I look back. Maybe I wasn't too smart to do that. They called me in the spring about playing in that game, and they said, I said, well, who would we play? And I said, well, we don't know yet. And I said, well. We'll play, And they said, yeah. So a little bit they called back and said, Coach, I hate to tell you, nobody wants to play you. They think y'all going to be really good, and nobody wants to play y'all. But he said, Florida State has said they would, but they're going to be preseason number 2 in the nation, got everybody coming back.
Right.
I said, that's okay. He said, well, you could play Florida State? I said, yeah. Got a chance to. We were trying to get exposure for A&M and for our team. We got a chance to take a bunch of young people to New York to play on national television against another really good team. That's a no-brainer to me. And we went up there, and I took the kids the day before the game. I took them out. I got them on these little throwaway cameras.
Okay.
And we went out to Harlem, let them get out and take some pictures in Harlem. I took them to Madison Square Garden. I took them over to the World Trade Center. I took them to the United Nations on the east side, got on a boat there and went out to the Statue of Liberty and took pictures back at the World Trade Center and the Statue of Liberty, and then we got off on the Jersey Shore and practiced that day. And then we played, and we played really well. Yeah. Peter Warwick made a big play on a punt return and made a great catch in the end zone, but that was kind of a horse and a horse. We could have easily won that game. But I think the preparation for it and having played somebody that's really good, I think it helped us as we went through the year and ended up winning the championship.
RC, I appreciate your time as always, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, good to talk to you. Let's have a fun year.
Let's do it, sir.
Right.
RC Slocum. Right. All right, awkward ending by me. Looking at somebody and just saying their name. RC Slocum is the GOAT, though. We love him. All right, we'll hit a break here. When we come back on TexAgs Radio, we'll have a short segment. We've got Caitlin with some tidbits to get to. That and more at TexAgs Radio. All right, TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. That's where we find the Caitlin Torn. Caitlin?
Yep. So I know that we're moving quick, but On3 did 2 truths and a lie with some statements about different conferences. So I think we can just run through them really fast. And if you have any predictions or any guesses, we can just play a little speed round.
Okay.
But from the SEC, the 3 statements are either OU or Texas will make the SEC title game, either OU or Texas will finish 500 or worse in SEC play, or Georgia will lose 2 road games.
Okay, let's cycle through those first because I think Georgia loses 1 road game. I don't know if they lose 2, so cycle through them again. First one is?
Either OU or Texas will make the SEC title game.
Okay.
And then the next is either OU or Texas will finish 500 or worse in SEC play.
Okay. So I'm supposed to tell you the lie?
Yeah, what do you think the lie is?
The lie is going to be the first one.
You don't think OU or Texas will make the SEC title game?
At this current moment, I do not.
Agreed. Moving on to the Big Ten.
I like how you said that like it was a business meeting. Agreed. Next.
Agreed. Moving on. In the Big Ten, Oregon and Ohio State will play at least twice this season. Nebraska at Iowa will have college football implications, and USC will finish above 500 in Big Ten play.
That's the lie. USC will not finish. All right, keep the rest of them for later. It is TexAgs Radio. You knew that. You're listening. We're going to go live soon, by the way, just for the record. When we come back on TexAgs, we're going to have Jason Howell on a mobile. No, actually, he'll be on Zoom. We're looking forward to talking to him on the Boss Firearms Hotline. That and more is TexAgs Radio. It is TexAgs Radio. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We are here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Got a lot of stuff to get into when it comes to recruiting country, and that is brought to you by our good friends at Caprock Health. Faster, patient-centered revolution in care with 2 ERs in the Bryan College Station area. The original 24-hour in South College Station, which I was just at on Monday night, unfortunately. And the full-service hospital with ER in Bryan on Briarcrest, online at caprockhealthsystem.com. Let's go to the Boss Firearms Hotline, where they provide high-quality firearms and components to their civilian and law enforcement customer base. See what they've got for yourself at bossfirearms.com. And like a boss, Jason Howell is with us here on the program. What's up, Mr. Howell?
Oh, man, same old. You know, just trying to keep track of all these kids, all these recruitments. Got games on the schedule, scrimmages. We got a lot of action to get a handle on.
Am I allowed to ask you about the, I would say, unfortunate news? The way you were reporting what you think Michael Fasusi's kind of leading, or I guess his mind is kind of going.
Yeah, right now, I mean, he's announcing today at 3 p.m. and A&M's been very much in that mix with Oklahoma and Texas down the stretch, and going into today's announcement, there's been a lot of Oklahoma talk. Oklahoma's kind of been the leader in the clubhouse there, that seems to be where the information and intel's pointing as he gears up for his decision today. Now, it's like I said, it's not over. This is a commitment, but there's still a long way to go until signing day. And Fasusi's one of those guys I would expect, if he doesn't pick A&M today, that's a guy that the Aggies stay on. So keep him on the radar. That's what I'm expecting today, is for him to pick Oklahoma.
Well, and you just said it there, but just a little bit more. The waiting game is something that A&M in the past has done well, and I know that Coach Elko is fine. Like, look, this is a long play. Just because they commit here or there at this point, there's a lot of season to go ahead.
Yeah, you see it every year, whether it's right up until signing day when you have the coaching carousel kicking in high gear and kids are going, the guy I like is not there anymore. I want to take a look. We all forget about that at this time of the year, but yeah, there's that. There's the ups and downs of the season. There's the way, with Mike Elko and Coach Klein, it's what's that offense going to look like? But I think Coach Cushing and that staff have done a really good job of letting these prospects, and in particular that O-line group, see, okay, this is what we're doing. This is what we're about. They've having video sessions with guys and, breaking down tape and giving them pointers about their game and things like that. That's stuff that's happening. And I think it has resonated with guys. I know the fans, we'll see what happens with Fasusi ultimately today, but Haywood, Fasusi, and Rogers have been three guys that you wanted to get one of those guys, and if you don't have one of those heading into the season, it's a jab in it's a gut punch, I guess.
Talking to Jason Howell here on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. We'll get into some other names here in a moment, but let's get into your long form article. Last week we went through a good one. Let's go through another one right now. And I'll just start off the forgotten period. So you take it from there, Jason.
Well, and the forgotten period, like, we always talk about, hey, this is everybody loses sight of this time of the year at the next recruiting cycle. You always look back to, this is where we ended up. This is, but you forget the battles and the ups and downs at the, that late July, early September period. And it's good to take a look back at that and just kind of remind yourself, oh, okay, things weren't as hunky-dory, or there were major question marks. And I guess my point was to show that right now, Texas A&M under Mike Elko, they're in a very good position. They're in as strong a position as they ever were under a Jimbo Fisher, led recruitment. Who, I mean, say what you want about the play on the field and the way things ended with him, but yeah, the recruiting aspect of it, he helped elevate A&M, I think, into a broader national brand, and you're seeing that A&M under Elko is recruiting the state as well as they ever have, not only under him but under Kevin Sumlin too. You're seeing that they are in it for a lot of big time recruitments. They've satisfied a lot of needs going into the season, and then you got a lot of your class done, which leads you to think, okay, you can focus. You never lose focus of recruiting, but when you have a lot of those guys in the boat and committed, it makes things easier, and you can narrow your focus on certain targets. And I think A&M's in a great position heading into the season, where they only have a few needs to really satisfy. You've got a lot of your class committed.
Talking to Jason Howell here on TexAgs Radio. High school practices and even some games and some scrimmages and whatnot. It's all here.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw the stat line that Helaman Kasuga had last week, but it was 18 of 20 passing. So
18 of 20?
18 of 20 for 482 yards, 6 touchdowns. And they beat a good team in American Fork. He put on a show in his first game as the starter there at Corner Canyon. And then Jerome Miles had 4 receptions for 120 yards and an 80-yard touchdown reception. So, that's a couple of big A&M targets right there that opened the season in a big way last week. That was the only official game on the schedule. This week you have a few more with all out of state. Corner Canyon's going up against IMG this week, so they're going to be tested. That's the number 3 team in the country, and then you've got Son Longstreet is kind of day-to-day dealing with a foot injury at Corona Centennial, but the A&M quarterback commit, he's got a big matchup against Mater Dei, who I think is number 1 in the country, and Centennial's not too far behind. That's a top 10 matchup right there, and 2 of the top teams in the state of California. Noah McHale and Benita, they start their season this week on Friday. I think TK Norman at Montgomery, Alabama. He's got a big game there in Montgomery. So we'll see what happens there. Get a chance to get some receiver highlights, and Adonis Curry and Quartz Hill out in California are going to be in action as well.
How have you guys figured out which games you're going to be at and the crew?
Well, I think as far as really hitting on a large scale, getting out, we're really looking at next weekend.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of the big first week in the state of Texas, and still figuring all that out. But we'll be out and about. I know Bronny's got some games in the Houston area. Kate will be hitting the road as well. I'll be here in DFW. I'm gonna head out to a scrimmage tomorrow night, and I'm hoping to get out to Prosper, get a close look at Connor Carty and the crew out there. So it's exciting. It's gearing up, and there's quite a few scrimmages. I don't think that doesn't necessarily mean all the top guys are going to be in action for all the top teams, but there's going to be there's quite a bit of action. If you need to get your your appetite for that for those Friday night lights satisfied. There's an opportunity.
So you'll have a lot of games on Friday, and then of course Saturday of next week is going to be crazy.
Yeah, it should be a big recruiting weekend. We're already seeing guys tweet that they're going to be in town. There's several of the state's best. I think I mentioned last week John Turntine could be in town. They actually play on Saturday, so that's not going to happen. I don't think. But there should be quite a few guys in town, top prospects, a lot of commitments, planning to make it back to College Station. Kelvion Riggins said, "Hey, I'm gonna be back for every home game." So
is that right?
Oh yeah, that's what he said. So he'll be in the house. Javian Osborne, his teammate there at Forney, one of the top 2026s in the country. He'll be in town. And he's looking at making his way back to College Station a few times this year. So there's going to be a lot of top prospects in town from not only the state of Texas but across the country.
How much wait and see is there with the commits and potential commits out there when it comes to A&M? Because the last 2 years, a lot of excitement around A&M, but there was still this. Well, I want to see what this offense really looks like. Is there that same vibe with the new regime?
I think for the most part, I think there's always going to be that deal, and there is a little bit of mystery with Colin Klein, especially on the offense. I think on the defensive side, you have more to show, but it's there's definitely a little bit of that, especially when you're talking about receiver and some history there with some top recruits not necessarily panning out or developing, and I think there's some wait and see. Let's see what this offense looks like, how explosive, what can A&M do with especially some of those top end big time receiver types.
But intrigue about what they can see from a Colin Klein offense.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think everybody is excited. Even guys committed elsewhere, that A&M's one of those schools I could see really reemerging with some guys we've talked about. Keep a Lincoln Cure on your radar. Keep this guy, that guy on your radar, because like we say, the season plays out and you'll see it. And I mentioned receiver, but I'd put offensive tackle up there as well, with Coach Cushing and, how that offensive line takes shape this fall could help lead to some of those recruiting efforts reigniting.
Talking to Jason Howell on the Boss Firearms Hotline. Jason, we talked about Michael Fasusi, his upcoming decision, but a few days after, it's today at 3, and then on the 24th, Jonah Williams.
Yeah, and we, that one continues to be pretty close. A&M has been right there towards the top of his list, if not at the top, for a while now, for a few months at least. And I know A&M continues to communicate there, and he's taking a close look at the Aggies. Texas and LSU are really coming on and have for a bit now. So it's a tight race, but I think there's still some promising thoughts about A&M's chances right now. So I think A&M's got a really good chance there. But like I said, it's going to be close, and it's going to be something we continue to monitor day to day.
Can he maybe bring some more? Is he the kind of guy that I'm waiting to see what Jonah does to see if I want to go to Texas A&M, or is he one of those, I guess, outgoing personalities that people kind of gravitate to?
I'll be honest. I'm not. Bronny is the one. Bronny and Kate have been heading up that one. Jonah is. Everybody has great things to say about his personality. He's. But yeah, I'll be honest. I don't know him as well as like Bronny and Kate do. But his talent and what he brings to the field is always going to attract others. So and that's the kind of commitment that can help spur momentum in the right direction for you. Anytime you get a 5-star type prospect, those guys they tend to have people watching what they're doing and wanting to play with them. Regardless of how close a relationship they may have with each other.
Jason, we talked last week about some changes in your rankings and in the TexAgs rankings. Let's kind of go through some of these here. 14 Texas A&M commits, 2 top 10, 5 total in the top 20, and 8 in the top 25.
Yeah, it just goes to show what the Aggies are doing as far as recruiting the state of Texas. They've done a really good job over the course of the winter months and spring and summer, and have really, like I said, fulfilled some needs. They got back into the DFW area in a big way, and you've got the state's top running back and Tiger Ryden committed. You've got the top interior offensive lineman and Connor Carty, who can project to guard and even center. Big athletic guy. You got Keati Armstrong there at athlete, who's just a different type of unique athlete out there that can contribute on either side of the ball, and attracted a lot of offers from major colleges at several positions. So you've got those guys that lead their position groups, as well as those 5 offensive linemen that you have committed. You've really hit the state of Texas really well. And I think that just I think there's a lot of people that are kind of underselling what Elko's done so far. And I think that just goes to show he's got the Aggies in the thick of it, for in-state and out-of-state.
Jason Howell with us here on TexAgs. Last thing before we hit a break, Jason, the SEC has the most commitments on your list, and you also go into how deep the entire class is at offensive lineman, wide receiver, and linebacker.
Yeah, at receiver, I want to say there's 20. there's so many. There's like double any other position group. That just tells you what kind of depth the state of Texas has, the offenses that are out there, and every year there's a ton of receiver talent out there to be had. So, and at offensive line, it is a unique year. A&M with 5 commitments, and you have the 3 national level 5-star type talents at offensive tackle that are kind of leading that way for the offensive line group. But it's a deep group at both interior and at offensive tackle. You've got a number of a variety of type of athletes, and a lot of guys going high level P4 type players.
That is Jason Howell. We'll come back with questions for Jason. If you have that, send them in on multiple ways. You can do it on the YouTube channel. You can do it at texags.com's chat, or you can text them in at 979-693-1150. It is Recruiting Country, brought to you by Caprock Health System. We're going to hit a break. Right now, though, we're talking about Caldwell Country Chevrolet, Highway 21 in Caldwell, and online at caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. My wife is there right now getting some service done, because they're the absolute best when it comes to service. Free oil changes for life on the purchase of your vehicle, as long as you own that vehicle. And the cool thing about, one of the great things, they have a lot of great things at Caldwell Country Chevrolet, but when we're talking about service in particular, they have complimentary pickup and delivery for their service customers. And that is such a huge, huge help for many of you who are busy working. You can't spend days or time there, hours. They'll take care of you. That's what they do at Caldwell Country Chevrolet, who's a proud supporter of Aggie athletics. That's why they're at all the big games, and they're at everything, right? They love being a part of this great community because they are locally owned and Aggie operated there at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Make the short drive to Caldwell to experience a car buying experience like never before, with a huge inventory of selection to fit most needs. They want to make long-lasting relationships with all of their customers, because they are just the core of class when you go there. They are south of the big city prices. They promise to treat their customers like family. It's about a 15-minute drive, the edge of Bryan to the beginnings of Caldwell. A short conversation away, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and do business with the great people there at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. Put it on, Jason. Like, even on a song that's like supposed to be at a funeral, you're over here laughing, dude.
I am, because I get the feeling like we just talked about Fasusi and how I think it's heading another way, and then I just heard. I'm not even gonna try and say the news today. Like it's a funeral, like you said, and I'm just like, all right.
I've made this joke before, but I used to work with this reporter that like would be at a crime scene and like, there was 10 murders today for channel whatever, right? Like that's you, Jason. Like, you know, yes, you know, I tore my ACL, but I'm happy because I'm Jason Howell. You're a happy guy.
Hey, I'm working on getting a new AC unit up here, so yeah, we got some stuff going on here at the home place. So got to keep that attitude positive and moving forward, man. That's the only way.
Life is too short. We should all be happy like Jason Howell, and of course myself. I'm the happiest guy in TexAgs.
Absolutely. Hey, Nuño, nobody tops your happiness.
Shoot. Sound like Anaya Smith there. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Caitlin Torn has got some questions coming in and some comments on the YouTube and the text.
Yes, we got a question from Anita Mann asking.
Whoa! They got you.
They got me.
They got you.
They got me, and it could have been way worse.
Oh, it could have been way worse.
Yeah, some of those can be bad.
Oh, okay.
At
At
least that one was clean.
Was there an actual question, though?
Yes, the question was, do we have any prospective running backs in the 26 class?
Thanks, Anita.
Oh, yeah. Yes, Javian Osborne from Forney, Texas is definitely a guy to watch. He rushed for over 2,000 yards last year. I think he had around 40 touchdowns, 37 I think was the number. But he's one of the top running backs in the state. Trooper Taylor's been all over him. Teammate Kelvion Riggins, and he's going to be in town for the Notre Dame, Texas A&M Notre Dame weekend. I got to get that right. I can't keep calling it the Notre Dame weekend, or Nuño's going to jump on me.
All right, I'm sorry. I was half listening because I was looking through the person who sent that text. Apparently, this is their gimmick. Every week that they text the show, there's a new name.
Yeah, I don't know how I missed that.
Oh, my goodness. That was great. Let's slow down on the next one. I know there was another comment you wanted to get to.
Yes, from Madden in Houston. He's
real. I know
frequent
Madden.
texter, real. He said, with the portal now, I just don't worry much about missing high school kids. I just don't worry much about missing high school kids as much anymore.
Maybe not a worry, but the high school
another
kids is how
avenue.
you build a program.
Yeah, you have another avenue to add talent to your program. And so you're gonna, if you miss, you do have other opportunities out there. It's still vitally important. You still need those program guys. You need those guys who grew up in your program. So when you do bring in a big talent in the portal, there's some that have been around that program that know how things are done and can help you recruit some of those guys. So, but yeah, I tend to agree. It's not the loss it used to be.
Jason, I'm going through. I know we did some of this last week, but the top prospects at each position. I'll just kind of throw some out, and we'll kind of talk about these guys because you put Keelan Russell as the top quarterback, number 9. He's committed to Alabama. But then at running back, somebody we talked about a moment ago, Tiger.
Yeah, well, you got two of the top teams in the state right there in Duncanville and DeSoto. Keelan Russell also happens to throw to the top receiver in the state, and DK Moore, who's headed to Oregon. So, yeah, loaded Duncanville team. But Russell, I'll be honest, he kind of got discounted for having so much talent around him and being, having all that protection. He's got these 6'5", 300-pound offensive linemen that keep him clean, and big, versatile, dual threat quarterback with a big arm and some real weapons at receiver. He went out and showed on the camp circuit, hey, I can process, I can get the ball out accurately and quickly, and he's got great size and brings a lot to the table. He was a guy that before Hassan Longstreet committed, A&M was taking a real close look at, formerly committed to SMU. And, once once Longstreet committed, that kind of they kind of went the separate ways, and Alabama got themselves a really good one. And Russell, he won the Elite 11 competition this summer, and he's been making some really big waves and made a real big name for himself out there nationally and riding. I'll be honest, I think people are sleeping on Tiger quite a bit. He had an injury I guess at early last season, and then came back and really put together a strong season, finished, with a lot of punch. He's we compared him to Isaiah Spiller as a versatile, bigger back, and has the ability to do some really big game changing things and be a dynamic playmaker out there at running back. And I think he comes in, I want to say, at number 17 in the state. And, next year, for example, you have 4 running backs in the top 10. So it's a pretty loaded year next year, but Tiger has been a very productive and highly elusive playmaking threat for one of the top programs in the state, and has done it very well, and has been a long-time target. Got his offer from A&M as a freshman. So that tells you just what kind of target and prospect he is and has been over the years.
Jason, great work, buddy. Talk to you soon.
Always appreciate you.
Thank you, Jason. Jason Howell there on the Boss Firearms Hotline here on TexAgs Radio. We'll hit a break. When we come back on TexAgs, Alex Caruso will be here on the program. We'll chit-chat with him. Right now, though, we're talking about Heritage Films. The website is yourheritagefilm.com. Documentaries, if you haven't had one done for your family, you're missing out. And if you need to watch one, maybe I'll even share with you my dad's story. It's cool to have a documentary done about your family. Maybe something that's important to your family. Maybe it's something that's important that story gets preserved for the next generation and the generation after that. Chance McClain is a artist, but he's a good old boy. He's a good old boy artist. He's happy on a tractor. He's happy on a movie set. He's done Broadway musicals. He started radio stations, and he does these documentary films for families. And for some reason, Aggies care about telling their story, and that's because we love our story, right? And Aggies love sharing their story as well. That's why if you ask Chance where his number one clients come from, they come from Texas A&M. That's the most. He gets them all from Texas A&M. If you want to tell your dad's story, your grandfather's story, your family ranch story, your family business story, you need to reach out to Chance McClain right now. The phone number, 713-893-8341. That number again, 713-893-8341. Or go to yourheritagefilm.com. That is yourheritagefilm.com. It is TexAgs Radio. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Sorry. Having a good old time here on the program. Just want to remind you guys something that we're working on. You know, obviously, we were big fans of Fargo's, and unfortunately, they closed down. So we've been on a world tour trying to find the right barbecue joint. We might be announcing that here pretty soon, the new place that we're going to be endorsing here on TexAgs Radio. Let's go to the Boss Firearms Hotline and talk to a guy that I've never had the privilege of talking to, but I've watched him, and I think the people at TexAgs would say that my defense is very similar to our next guest because I shut fools down. Alex Caruso joining us here on the program. I take on 5'4" guys. You take on 6'8" guys. Alice, welcome to the show, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. Good to meet you.
Hey, thanks for coming on the show. Let's talk a little bit about Monday. You've got your Alex Caruso Foundation golf tournament at Miramount Country Club. Talk to me a little bit about how it all came together.
Yeah, so for a couple of years now, I've been trying to get the Alex Caruso Foundation started in some capacity, right? I've always had this pull towards giving back and helping others, and I've been blessed and through some hard work and good opportunities, I found a lot of success with the game of basketball on a personal level. So everything kind of fell into place for me to be able to start a foundation and to give back to others. And I think one of the places that is always near and dear to my heart is College Station and the Texas A&M community. And so to get that started, I wanted to come back and one, have a golf tournament just because one, I love golf. That's my big hobby. But two, it seemed like the perfect event to just get a bunch of people together, talk about the foundation, get face to face, and just kind of hang out and spend some time together because I don't get to come back to College Station and hang out as much as I'd like to.
You're gonna have some friends there too, some maybe former teammates, some buddies.
Yeah, we'll have some people come in town. I know Billy Kennedy's in town, and he's definitely going to be out there. Hopefully, some other faces will show up too. But really, just excited to kick off the foundation. I mean, the turnaround for this has been a couple months. Like I said, just the first one, I'm just trying to get it going, right? I'm just trying to get feet on the ground, faces in front of faces, and just kind of get everything going. And then I think from here we'll be able to build, and as I continue to grow, the foundation will grow, and it can do some great things.
Alex, what do you think when you come back to town, right? Bryan and College Station, just this whole Brazos Valley, and when you were a kid to what it's become now? Because it's not a small town anymore. It's still got the small town charm, but it's changed.
Yeah, every time I come back, there's a new road or a new construction project. It's been like that since I was a kid. I remember when I lived in the Castlegate community in South College Station, and Greens Prairie was just a 2-lane road, and there was cows where that HEB used to be. So that's always been a standard for College Station and the Brazos Valley's growth, and they continue to do that. But every time I come back, I always it's good to see the growth, but I always go back to the staples, right? I always go to like Copy Bridge, Wings and More, see the old familiar faces of my family and friends that still live there, and it brings it back to kind of that nostalgia feeling of when I was a kid.
By the way, for those who want to be involved in the event on Monday, email alexcarusofoundation@gmail.com. That's where you can get some more information. Somebody will get back to you. Let's just talk about your story for a minute, because I don't think you're probably surprised at the success you've had. But if you could have told young high school version of yourself that this is going to be your story, or even when you're at Texas A&M, like, would you have been surprised? Would you have been like, yeah, that's what I was destined to do?
Yeah, I don't know if I would have believed you if I was, 16, 17 years old, and you told me I'd have, my own foundation, an NBA championship, some personal accolades, and we're going on year 8 in the league. I don't know if I would have outright believed you then, but for me, man, I've always just been so competitive with myself. I think there would have been some type of self-belief in the back of my mind. I've been like, yeah, no, I think we could do that. We could probably achieve all that. But yeah, I think just being present from when I was, maybe even younger than that, from middle school to high school, even through A&M, just kind of being a prisoner of the moment and taking everything, one punch as it as it's thrown. I think that's kind of been the key for me to have a lot of success, personally, and then also just through my career. Just always kind of ready for the next challenge.
What did the endorsement from LeBron mean to you? Maybe the way others looked at you when you've got, the face of the NBA, like loving your game. Did it do anything internally? What did it do maybe externally?
Oh, it definitely gives you confidence. Someone of that stature, but also just from a basketball perspective, someone that's that smart and that's skilled. Like you said, face of the NBA, arguably greatest player of all time conversation. Like that means a lot. And I think it kind of, gave me the confidence in myself to really believe that what I was doing was right. The things that I was good at, that I knew I was good at, could actually contribute and be, a deciding factor in NBA games. Like that's all I ever wanted, was to be out there at the end of the game and have a chance to win. Cause like you said, really competitive guy. So at the end of the day, that's kind of what I'm most worried about. And if I got a chance to be out there, that's what I'm asking for.
Where have you seen your game evolve from maybe your time at A&M? Where do you think you've seen the most growth?
Yeah, I think just confident in everything that I do. I don't second guess myself nowadays. Like I know exactly what I want to do defensively, when I want to shoot it, how I want to attack. And then I think just the mental part of the game, like resetting every night in the NBA is a big deal. Like playing 82 games or however many it is that you play during the year. It's a task to shut it off for 12 hours, go to practice the next day, and then ramp it back up, every 2 days or on back-to-backs, 4 and 6 nights, whatever it is. So growing in that aspect was something that professional basketball really taught me. And then obviously just continuing to work on, my shot, my offensive part of my game. I think I shot just over 40% on 4 or 5 attempts last year. That's a high level number for an NBA guy, let alone, basketball in general. So just really, really appreciative that I gave myself the opportunity by putting in the work, all these years and all these summers.
Career highs last year in games played: points per game at 10, rebounds per game 3.8, assists per game 3.5, field goal percentage 46.8, 3-point percentage 40.8, steals per game 1.7. And also, if this means something to you or not, I just saw one of my somebody on our team here tell us, on NBA 2K25, you have a perimeter defense of 94, second on the game. Did you know that?
I saw that the other day. Yeah, somebody either tweeted it or I saw it on Instagram. Good for 2K. Good on them showing some love finally.
Yeah. And just what about your new adventure there at Oklahoma City, a team that has so much talent, and people are saying you could be the missing piece?
Yeah, I think that team. Obviously, their success last year speaks for themselves. Being first in the West is a tall task, just because of the buzzsaw that the Western Conference is and how much talent there is. And it's weird now because we added a couple pieces in the offseason. They re-signed some of their young guys. Me, Isaiah Hartenstein, I think 2 phenomenal basketball players, and I think fit really well within the team. Just looking at it on paper, I think we do a lot of stuff that those guys need and can contribute and help them be successful. So for me, like I said earlier, you got to stay in the present, right? That's kind of been the key to success. So we're going to keep doing that. But obviously, high expectations. I'm excited just to get to know, some of my new teammates. Obviously, Mark Dagnall, our head coach, he coached me when I was in Oklahoma City in the G League my first year. So we have a great relationship. I know what to expect out of him. He knows how to coach me and really push me. So really just, if there was one word to describe it, just excited, excited to get going.
Alex, as focused as you are, do you have time to kind of watch a little Aggie sports? Maybe the basketball team with Buzz this past year, baseball making it their run all the way to the championship, and football and the changes with Coach Elko?
Yeah, of course. Besides, I have a soccer team in England, Manchester City, that I watch, but other than that, A&M is the sole, it's all I have room for left in my head during the basketball season. I always support those guys, and then I talk to some of the basketball players throughout the year, just shoot them a text, and if I see something, or just giving them, some motivation to try and keep going and move on to the next game.
Is Pep your guy? Is he the best in Europe?
Oh yeah, for sure. Probably of all time.
Well, just so I hope I don't make an enemy of you. I'm a Real Madrid guy, so I know the last 3 years has been between our two teams.
Yeah, that's been the ongoing theme for the last 3, 4, 5 years.
Yeah. Hey,
it's a good battle. It's a good battle.
Let's close out with just some final thoughts on Monday. You know, folks that want to be involved, why it's going to be such a cool event, and what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, I think just like we started at the beginning of the show, I'm excited just to start the foundation. Like, there's so much I want to do to give back, and I'm learning as I go, just figuring out the best way to set it up for success so people can, one, benefit from it, and then also, endorse it, help it grow. And then Monday, 8/26, right? I think we have a handful of foursomes available left. If anybody, some latecomers that want to play some golf Monday, you can go to that. You can email alexcarusofoundation@gmail.com, and they'll give you more information on it. But it's going to be a great event. It's going to be a lot of fun. Like I said, the kickoff. This will probably be the smallest it'll ever be as far as attendance and enrollment. So if you have any interest in winning prizes, this is probably your year to get in and do it. But super excited to get the foundation going and looking forward to giving back to the Brazos Valley over the coming years.
Alex, I'm a hoops junkie, so this is a real thrill to talk to you. I love defense. Like, that's what I like to watch. So it's so much fun to watch you out there represent Texas A&M on the global scale, man. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, of course, man. Nick, thanks for having me.
Take care. Alex Caruso there on the Boss Firearms Hotline. Make sure if you want to be a part of the event on Monday, you email him. I'll send that information for you again here in a moment. But send it out there. I'm trying to get it open. Where'd it go? There it is. Alex Caruso Foundation @gmail.com. Alex Caruso Foundation @gmail.com. We'll hit a break. We'll come back with one final segment. Right now, though, Milliken Reserve, a farm-to-table community in College Station, they got homes, they got trails, they got wide open spaces, and a mission to build a healthy community around nature. So I'm looking at their calendar right now. They got a lot of stuff going on. Trail running with the Lone Star Trail Runners. That's going to be this August 24th. You've got Day at Play, and that's going to be a day for kids to go out there and have fun. Trail running with the Lone Star Trail Runners again on the 31st. More Day at Play. They have events all the time. Gardening 101, fall and winter planting. You've got garden club meetings. Sunrise Coffee on September the 5th. Volunteer at the farm. So many good things happening there at Milliken Reserve, where they want to connect families to nature and to each other. They have an extensive network of trails throughout a wooded landscape and a walking and equestrian paths. They got creeks, they got ponds, they got gathering areas, and they're a place for families to cherish generation after generation. If you want more information on the beautiful place that is Milliken Reserve, go to millikenreserve.com. That is millikenreserve.com. All right, guys, it's time to end the day with Double Days. Caller number 12, 979-693-1150. We're going to hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls or a large one-topping pizza from Double Dave's, serving Aggieland since 1984. They have your favorite pizza. They have your favorite world-famous pepperoni rolls and reliable in-house delivery, bringing piping hot goodness straight to your door. Just click on doubledaves.com, and your favorites are on their way. So I started saying it when Alex got on the show, Alex Caruso. Yeah, we're first-name basis now. But we're sad about the whole Fargo's experience, right? Because we love having those rib tips. They were fantastic. So what we've been doing is for the last 6 weeks is, we've been touring all the top barbecue joints that we can get to, that we can drive to after the show. And we've gone to a lot of places. And I'm going to tell you, there's some good barbecue joints close by. Like it's hard. We're about to make our decision. We'll probably make it Friday. Not Friday, Monday. We may do it, those start the new season with it. I don't know. I kind of feel like Josh Pate, who was being recruited by the gas stations. We've been being recruited by the barbecue joints, and we found a place. And look, we're not going to use some of the same lingo, but let's just say there's going to be some real romantic vibes with the food. All right, I'm just going to be honest with you, especially with OB. Like he's in love. Right, it comes Irma and this particular place. That's how and Quinn, obviously. I'm telling you, we've gone and we're like, oh my goodness. Anyway, Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Caitlin Torn. We didn't get to finish the game, and we got about 2 minutes. You want to finish the last? Is it 2 more?
Yep, 2 more.
Tell the folks what the game is again. Is two truths and a lie?
Yes, we're playing two truths and a lie.
And this is done by On3 had it on their site, but I believe what I saw written was, we won't know the answer until the end of the season.
Right.
Well, I'm telling you the answer.
We're playing for fun. But the ACC, okay, so the first one is Florida State will win the ACC again.
Lie.
Clemson will not make the ACC title game. Or
lie again.
Miami will make the ACC title game.
Okay, so I got to tell you which one's the lie, right?
Yeah, you can only pick one lie.
What was the Clemson one again?
Clemson will not make the ACC title game.
That's the lie. They will make it.
Okay. Do we want to do the last one?
Let's do the last one.
Perfect. So this is college football playoff as a whole. 5 SEC teams will make the playoff.
True.
4 Big Ten teams will make the playoff.
True.
2 ACC teams will make the playoff. One has to be a lie.
False.
The last one?
Yeah.
Perfect.
That's it?
That's all we got.
How do you think I did, folks? If it's nice, send it my way. If it's mean, don't. That's simple. Let's be nice in the world. Let's give everybody a hug. Just don't hug me. All right, that's going to do it for TexAgs Radio on a Wednesday. I never know what day it is. I think there was a day last week, Nick. Correct me if I'm wrong. Or maybe it was this week. Or it was like, today is Monday, August 20th.
I think that was like last week, yeah. God. Too much stuff going on around here.
Dude, this is the busiest we've been
I like
season.
it, but I don't like it. Nuñoism for you.
You like it, but you don't.
Exactly.
You feel accomplished when the day ends, but you also feel like there's so much more to do.
We're live, but we're not.
Are we going to go live?
I think.
Are we live now?
About 30 more seconds.
I mean, we're live, but we're not live.
Correct.
If you know what I mean, hold that thought. That's going to do it. We'll see you all mañana.